All right, so I just did a gold video on purpose. I wanted to differentiate it and break it out because I do long classes because I am answering a lot of questions, which is why I'm here as the professor. So one key we just said was JP Morgan holds 11 million ounces of gold, which is 320 tons of it, not 1,000 tons, just 320 tons. God knows how many ounces China has because they own 35,000 tons. And Russia with 12,000 tons. You couldn't even do the analysis. You couldn't even do the analysis of how many ounces it is because it cracks out. All right, so let's go into the NFL playoff scenario. So this is NFL.com, NFL playoff clinching scenarios for week 18. Teams that have clinched. The Eagles have a playoff berth. The Niners clinched the West. The Vikings clinched the North. Tampa clinched the South. Dallas has a playoff berth and the Giants. So the first six are in. Who the one seed is could be the Niners or the Eagles. I'm not sure if the Vikings have it. Still in the hunt, Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay. From what I gather, if Green Bay wins, they're in. The only way Detroit gets in is if Seattle loses to the Rams and they beat Green Bay. And if Seattle wins and Detroit beats Green Bay, Seattle's in. So Detroit really, if Seattle wins, they're really not playing for anything. But they'll still play. They've never played for anything anyway most of the season. Week 18 clinching scenarios. Philadelphia. They clinched with the win. So clinched NFC East title with Philly win or a Dallas loss. They clinched the one seed home field with the Philly win or a Dallas and a Frisco loss. Frisco plays Arizona, clinched the number one seed home field advantage, and NFL's lone first round bye. They have to win and Philly has to lose. Now, I imagine these are all at the same time because it's not like, well, if Philly loses, they win. If Philly wins, then they don't try, and that's what they're trying to avoid. So they will play the same as Philly. Dallas clinched NFC East with a win and a Philly loss. Clinched the one where they have to win and Philly and Frisco lose. Seattle clinches a playoff berth. They have to win and Green Bay has to lose. Detroit clinches a playoff if they win and Seattle loses, I said, and all Green Bay needs to do is win. So that is the NFC playoffs. So the Lion-Green Bay game, Green Bay must win no matter what. If Seattle wins, Detroit loses, but is Detroit not going to play? I think Detroit plays regardless. So the real key here is Dallas going to play? Is Philly and Frisco going to lose? Frisco ain't losing to Arizona, especially if they need it. Let's say this game is at so Dallas Washington's 425, Frisco's at 425, and the Philly game's at 4. So they're all going at the same time. All three teams will go. Seattle is at 425, and Detroit's the 820 because it doesn't matter. So that is your NFC playoff scenario. Very simple. Let's go to the AFC clinching. So it gives me the NFC. Where is my AFC? How do I switch it? News: Bills safety Damar Hamlin in critical condition after suffering cardiac arrest. Buffalo Cincy game proposed, which makes no sense. Week 17 Monday night inactives. So we don't care about that. Dolphins preparing to start Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson in Week 18. Commanders Ron Rivera doesn't regret starting Carson Wentz over Tyler Heineke. So he's obviously an idiot, Ron Rivera. Let's see. Colts interim coach celebration after Nick Foles sacked, tasteless and what? Colts interim head coach Jeff Saturday. Oh, you're saying Kayvon Thibodeau's celebration after Nick Foles sacked? Yeah, well, all right, whatever. Don't. So maybe try blocking him so he doesn't sack you. So basically, what the fuck's happening? I don't know. I got to see. Playoff picture. So where's the AFC playoff picture? Why would you give me the NFC and not the AFC? Here it is. All right, so the Chiefs have clinched the division. Now this is a week behind. This is week 17 matchup. I don't care about that. I want week 18, so this is stupid. All right, so we know the NFC, but why don't we know the AFC? Did they not know it yet? Maybe they don't know it yet because what are they going to do with Buffalo and Cincy, who are let's see if I can get it. AFC playoff scenario. Why would I want the 2021 playoff scenario? Let's see if CBS Sports gives it to me. Yeah, here's the AFC. Cincinnati can clinch the AFC North Division with a win or a tie. San Diego is ahead of Baltimore based on conference record. So what? So they got the 5 seed or the 6. What's the difference? New England is ahead of Miami in the AFC East based on division record. New England's ahead of Miami. Patriots 3-2. Yeah, New England is ahead of Pittsburgh based on head-to-head 1-0. Miami is ahead of Pittsburgh based on that. So this doesn't help us at all. This is terrible. The Jets in Tennessee are ahead of Cleveland. What the fuck? When is this? Oh, yeah, this is last week, too. Yeah, so we're running a week behind for some reason. Why can't I get a fucking updated list of the... Let's try this one. Week 18 clinching scenarios for AFC and NFC contenders. Week 17 is just about in the books with the only Bills visiting the Bengals in a Monday night showdown. Okay, so again, this isn't updated. AFC scenario, number 1 seed buying home field. The Chiefs clinch with any of the following: a win or a Bills loss. That's not, well, I don't know. Is that okay? Two Bill losses and a Bengal loss. But again, we don't know what's going on with Buffalo Cincy. Bills clinch with any of the following: two wins, which, how are they going to get the second win? Bengals clinch with any of the following: two wins and a Chief loss. AFC South title, Jags 8-8 clinch with win or tie versus Titans. Titans clinch with a win at Jacksonville. Look for the Titans to play a lot better game. And the game's at Jacksonville. So that I like the Titans even more if the game's at Jacksonville. AFC North, Bengals clinch with win or tie versus Bills or win versus Ravens. So they play the Ravens. So I don't know what's going on with the Cincy, but if they beat Baltimore, they're in. They will beat them. Number 7 seed, Patriots clinch with a win at Bills or Dolphins loss versus Jets, and a Steelers loss versus Browns, and a Jaguar win versus Tennessee. Dolphins clinch with win versus Jets and a Patriot loss. Steelers win versus the Browns, but they need the Dolphins to lose versus the Jets and the Patriots to lose at the Bills. And Jacksonville clinches with loss versus Titans and losses by the Dolphins, Patriots, and Steelers for the wild card. So even if they lose, they can still get in. But I think the Dolphins probably lose to the Jets because of they don't have a quarterback. Patriots, I don't know what to handicap on the Buffalo game because you just had a player have a heart attack on the field. What's their psyche going to be like? Hey, Nick, can't believe the game last night. Still a bit shaken up after seeing that. I didn't see it, but I'm shaken up. I had Cincinnati in 2 locks. It was the best play of the week, and now I'm like, what the fuck? So how do they not? Are they not making the game up or what? But it's crazy. So yeah, we didn't lose on it, but we didn't win on it. That was what I was counting on. So anyway, yeah, it's unfortunate. Like I said, there was a game between Chicago and Detroit in the 60s. Sports books might they have to avoid the bet. They didn't play the game. The game has to go full game to pay it. Well, what was the score? 7-3, or that was the last score I saw. So how are you going to pay off on the over? I mean, and if it's not a complete game, it's just void the ticket. Even if they play again, which I don't know when they would play, because once you play week 18's games, it's not like you can play them on Tuesday. It's not like baseball where you play a doubleheader. So I don't know how in the world, because then your playoffs start, with all the TV money, your playoffs are starting the following week. So I don't know what you do. It really benefits Kansas City because Cincinnati can't catch him now. I don't know. It's a weird scenario because now they don't play the full 17 games, so it's weird. It does benefit Cincinnati because I think now they can't lose to Baltimore because they've only got 6 losses and Baltimore's got 8, even if Baltimore beats them. This is really weird. Bengals clinch with win or tie versus the Bills or a win versus the Ravens, but that's assuming they lost to the Bills, which they didn't. So they need to update this. So there's just mass confusion in the AFC. However, the wild cards are in no matter what. So the wild cards. So you got the first 4. What do they mean, number 7 wild card? Where's the 5th seed? The Bills, the Bengals. Whoever wins the Jags, Titans win the South. Bengals, I guess, win the North. And I don't know why they're saying the 7th seed. So what happened to the 5 and 6 seeds? That's Baltimore must be in, and San Diego are in. Right. So there's 1 seed open. New England wins at Buffalo. They clinch. how's Buffalo going to be this week? Good Lord. The Dolphins clinch if they beat the Jets and the Patriots lose to the Bills. Now, that could happen. Again, the Jets, good defense. Depends. If it's Skylar Thompson, I can see the Jets easily winning. The Steelers to win against the Browns, which is no problem, and Dolphins loss versus the Jets, which very well could happen, and Patriots could easily lose. So the Steelers have a very good chance. And then the Jaguars, I mean, if they beat Tennessee, they're in. If they lose to Tennessee, then all these teams have to lose for the Jaguars to get in. So whoever wins that Jacksonville, Tennessee game is the champ. And I don't see the other team being a wild card. So that's your playoff for this week. So it's really New England in a must win, but is Buffalo in a must win. So for Buffalo, Buffalo clinches the 1 seed with 2 wins. Well, they can't get 2 wins. They can only get 1 win. And if we look at let's look at the standings. So you're going to give me standings. All right. So, where's the fucking standings? So Buffalo at 12-3, Cincinnati 11-4, and Kansas City's 12-3. So if Buffalo wins, they got the home field. Well, no, see, this isn't right. This is based on 15. They're not even fucking close. Let me go to Yahoo. I mean, how do you not update they've all played 16 games. So Yahoo gives you a better look. So Kansas City's 13-3, Buffalo is 12-3, Cincinnati's 11-4. If it stays as it is, KC wins. They're 14-3. Buffalo can't get there because they're not going to play 17 games. They're only going to play 16. Cincinnati gets fucked because they can go 12-4, but they can't get there. However, Cincinnati clinches because at 11-4, even if they lose, they're 11-5. Baltimore goes to 11-6. So Cincinnati's won their division, depending on what they decide with this game. It's insane. So then you got San Diego at 10-6, ahead of Baltimore at 10-6. San Diego has got San Diego. Where are you? They play at Denver, and Baltimore's got the Cincinnati game, and that game is at, I think it's at Cincy. Where's that game? Yeah, that game's at Cincy. Cincy's not losing that game. So really, KC lucks out based on this postponement. Buffalo kind of gets screwed, as does Cincinnati. So this is insane. What do you do with the game? It's never been postponed. I don't know what you do with it, but you can't postpone a game. This is the playoffs. This is what you play for. So it's really now up to Jacksonville, Tennessee. Winner wins the South, and then it's the New England, Miami, Pittsburgh who wins the basically who's going to win the last wild card. New England's at Buffalo. Buffalo can can get the 1 seed if KC loses to KC plays Oakland, so that'll already be done. I think that's played earlier. That's played Friday or Saturday. Excuse me. So if KC wins, then Buffalo's got nothing to play for because they can't catch him now. Cincinnati has locked up their division, so they don't have anything to play for. Jacksonville plays Tennessee, so that's your playoff game. The San Diego and Baltimore they don't have anything to play for. And then New England at Buffalo, now they can win it because Buffalo can't get the 1 seed because they got, with the injury. And then Miami and the Jets. So it's all, if New England wins, they're in. And against Buffalo, with Buffalo not having a reason to play, unless KC loses to Oakland. If KC loses to Oakland and goes 13 so if KC goes 13-4, then Buffalo can go 13-3 and win the 1 seed, and Cincinnati's screwed. They can only get to 12-4. So this is extremely confusing because of them not playing, right? So they've lost. They're not playing the same amount of games. And the other one, so it depends. KC wins, then Buffalo doesn't. So we have to see, are they making the game up? Now let's go to the lines. And they made time changes. Just a second, I have to check something. Okay. So let's go through the lines. So these Saturday games, our KC is now 7.5, 52.5 against Oakland. Not sure why that line would go down unless they've clinched. Well, they haven't clinched the 1 seed. Tennessee, Jacksonville 6.5, 39.5. The over went up a point. Now I see Henry playing. I don't even see him on the injured list, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now they've moved up and they've got these 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. So the 1 o'clock game is Miami -1. They fucked up my whole schedule here. Miami won 38.5. Pitt 2.5, 39.5. I love these little 1 point over under moves. Indy 2.5, 38.5. Who gives a shit? Who's betting this game? What are they, out of their minds? Atlanta 4, 40.5. I was shocked that they were favored by 7. Now, I'm not sure. Atlanta -4. Is Brady not playing? I mean, because they still got Ritter, so they still don't have a quarterback, Atlanta. New Orleans, 3.5, 41.5 in a meaningless game. Down from 4.5, 41.5. Buffalo, 7.5, 42.5. This is also a 1 o'clock game, so I would assume, well, KC is the night before. So if KC wins, there's nothing for Buffalo to play for, so keep that in mind. Cincinnati, 6.5, 42.5. Again, if they don't make the game up and KC wins, well, Cincinnati has clinched the division. They'll still play, but they don't have. So these are all at 1 o'clock. And the Bears and the Vikings, Minnesota -4. Was this 7.5 or 2? I think it was 2.5. It goes from 2.5 to 4 and 45.5. I love the over there. Minnie can clinch the 1 seed if Philly loses. So this game's at 1 o'clock, which doesn't make sense. So I guess it doesn't mean anything. They still got to play. And then Philly and all the boys play at 4 o'clock. So Seattle -6.5 is at 4 o'clock. They must win. And then have Detroit beat Green Bay. Philly 14, 42.5. Up from 13.5, up to 42.5. Question is Jalen Hurts playing? So let's take a look at the injuries while we're on this game. Philadelphia injured. Quinn, Johnson, Barrett, Josh Sweat. Jalen Hurts, questionable with the shoulder. But that will get updated later in the week. So this will be interesting what they do with this. Frisco -14, 40.5 against Arizona. God knows. Let's see who's Arizona's quarterback going to be. I mean, they didn't even go to Trace McSorley. They went to somebody else last week. Arizona, Colt McCoy's questionable. And we know the starter's out. But James Conner, questionable. Buda Baker out with the shoulder. So they got the whole backup out there. Kyler Murray out, we know. So we don't know the quarterback. But McCoy's questionable. But against this Niners team. So does the Niners need it? Well, Philly's on the same time. Philly must win. But apparently Minshew is not capable, or they're not capable of calling plays for him to be successful. So now you got to worry. Now the Giants don't need it. They're locked in, whatever, 5 or 6. So they don't need the game either. Philly needs the game. The Niners need the game if Philly loses. Otherwise, they don't need the game. And if Minnesota, it doesn't matter what Minnesota does. If the Niners win or if Philly wins, they're the 1 seed. Well, if Philly wins, they're the 1 seed. San Diego, 3 and 40. Line hasn't moved. San Diego is locked in. Do they want to stay ahead of Baltimore? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? Dallas, 5.5 over Washington. This is the puzzle spread. This should be – why isn't this 14? So Dallas wins and Philly loses. Now, this is also at 425. So you've got Philly and all the way down to Dallas, Washington at 4 o'clock. So if Philly's losing, Dallas wins. So they're assuming Philly's going to blow out the Giants, which I'm not assuming that. Or the Niners should beat Arizona. So I guess they're figuring Dallas doesn't play. But the hidden is we want Cooper Rush out there. Dallas is a better team. Dallas wins a playoff game or 2 with Cooper Rush. They don't win any with Prescott. Green Bay, 4.5, 49.5. And that's our free play. Go over in this game. It's already bet. It's already played. It's the only safe play I could come up with until I figure out. Well, I was waiting for the Buffalo Cincinnati. I would have taken Cincinnati big this week, only laying 6.5. This is a joke. If they could win for the 1 seed, Cincy would kill Baltimore. Again, you don't have that. So this is a very strange week. So those are the lines for this week. So that's what we get. We got a mess on our hands here. Now, the question I'm asking Nick is, I saw the first half of the Utah game and Rising was playing. I was excited. Then I see I don't think he played in the second half. Was it an injury or did they not play? But it screwed up my Utah bet, which I didn't bet a lot because I didn't trust Rising to play. USC, we got the win because we had 4.5 and they ended up losing by 1. We didn't play the LSU Purdue game. We had the under Mississippi State, Illinois. So overall, it was a strange playoff. The locks I played, we won Kansas over. I lost Oregon over. I lost UCLA. I won Georgia, and I won USC. So I went 3-2 on my locks. Did I have any locks in the first half? No. I was surprised. I was going to lock Washington State and probably Mexico State, but it was just chaos right now. So in the pros, I hit locked Baltimore Pitt under, locked the Green Bay Miami over, lost the Philadelphia lock, and had the lock last night over Buffalo Cincinnati. All I saw was a 7-3 score early first quarter. So I go back at 11:30 to check the score, and I'm expecting the game to still be on. And I go and I look, and it says postpone, and I'm like, well, it was 7-3. What do you mean postpone? So then I saw the guy got injured, but I don't know why they canceled the game. I get the guy got injured. I don't like that he got injured, but it's football and everybody gets injured. How is it really different than a broken leg? Or Mackenzie Milton's when he broke his leg and he almost lost it. Or the guy on Washington, Alex Smith. It was a serious injury, and you wheel him off, you take him to the hospital. But you keep going with the game. You can't just cancel the game, especially as an important. If it was the Lions and Jacksonville, who gives a shit, right? Or this week, if it's what, Indy and Houston, okay, fine, cancel the game. Who cares? But you can't cancel a Buffalo Cincinnati because this is for the 1 seed. This is for Cincy to clinch their division. This is Cincy to say we beat Kansas City and Buffalo, and they're winning 7-3. So this is not acceptable behavior in a sport that there are plenty of, what if a guy died in car racing? When Dale Earnhardt died, did they keep going with the race? I don't know. But what I don't get is, you've got to play the game. And it's not like, okay, you're going to play it tonight. Maybe they'll play it tonight. I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know what they played, a quarter, a half. I haven't seen it. But I don't think it's well, let me go into my Yahoo and see if they give me a box score on the game. See, the box score is blank. It just says postponed. Yeah, it's weird. They don't show what had happened or when it stopped. So that's not good. So it's really screwing Cincinnati the worst because they would have clinched and they had a chance for the 1 seed if they win and KC loses. But KC probably beats Oakland anyway. I'm a little shocked that the line's only 7, unless KC's clinched the 1 seed already. So this doesn't make sense by a has KC. So if the game's just canceled, as they say, has KC clinched the 1 seed? So KC at 13-3 needs to win. If they lose, they're 13-4, and Buffalo wins, they're 13-3. Buffalo, I think, wins. So I think KC I don't know, 13-4 or 13-3. I think 13-3 is better than 13-4. So KC has to win this game. So I don't get that. And then if KC loses, then Buffalo needs it. But KC plays Saturday, so KC needs to win playing Stidham in Oakland. And then Jacksonville, Tennessee. Why is Jacksonville a 6.5-point favorite there? You got to be kidding. So let's go to Jacksonville and Tennessee injury. I thought I saw Derrick Henry not on the list. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Are you going to trust Trevor Lawrence to win a game for you? Good luck. Tennessee injury. Tannehill is out. We know. Derrick Henry's questionable with the hip, so he is back on the. Now he's questionable. I guarantee you he plays. Question is, who's the quarterback? Is it going to be the guy from Tennessee? Is it going to be Malik Willis? I doubt it's Malik Willis. It's a playoff game. You can't trust him. So that's what I see. So if we go through the games, I haven't done my stat shot. I'll do that shortly. So it looks like KC over Oakland. KC clinches the 1 seed. That's laying down to 1 is a joke. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Probably like the dog here if Henry plays, but even if he doesn't, Tennessee, how bad did they lose? They lost to Dallas 27-13. Yeah, okay, but this is Jacksonville. We have to see. Cleveland, Pitt. Pitt needs the game, and they need Buffalo to beat New England. So this will be a very interesting one. And they need Miami, the Jets, to beat Miami. So they need a lot to happen. But the way Tomlin is and the way Pitt is, they'll beat Cleveland. They're not going to lay down as long as they have a chance. They're going to play Pittsburgh ball, and they're red hot. The big win against Baltimore. I think they're going to kill Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, really, against this defense, he won't put up 100 yards. Minnesota, Chicago. Now, this is early. Now, Minnesota needs this to have a chance at the 1 seed if everybody else loses. But all the other games are at 4. This is a 1 o'clocker. So I like Minnesota here, but I like the over just because neither team's got a D. These are both over teams. And we saw what Chicago did against the Lions. The Lions put up 41. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota, as bad as Kirk Cousins is and looks and chokes, he should do well in this game. Just because Chicago's defense is so bad, Jefferson will light it up. They'll score a lot. The Bears will score at home because with Fields, he'll run. So this is another over game with the Green Bay-Detroit game. It's just really we're betting over on Chicago every week. Carolina, New Orleans. This is absolutely meaningless. Carolina, strong road dog. Give New Orleans credit. They beat Philadelphia, but it's all for naught. It doesn't matter if they win. Tampa's clinched the division, and they can't get the wild card. Green Bay wins. They're the wild card. Green Bay loses, and Seattle wins. Seattle's the wild card. So New Orleans has no chance being the wild card. Here does Carolina. So it's funny. The one game Tampa finally comes through and should be the lock is the game we got Carolina and we win with them. But Tampa finally shows up in a game. Amazing. So here I don't know. What do you do? Neither team needs it. They both play it out. They're professionals. They'll play. Again, I probably like Carolina 9.5 because they've been running the ball well. Probably a low-scoring game. Two pretty good defenses. So I look for that. I don't see Dalton doing what Brady did, which was throw the ball long. I don't see Dalton doing that. So I like the dog there. Baltimore, Cincy. I don't know what you do. If they don't play the game, Cincinnati's clinched because they've only got 4 losses and Baltimore's got 6. So even if Baltimore wins, since he's got 5 losses, Baltimore's got 6. And therefore, Cincinnati won their division is how I'm viewing it. If this is for the division, I love Cincinnati. If it's not, I still love Cincinnati because Baltimore's got nothing to play for. What are they going to play for, the 6th seed instead of the 5 seed? Does that really matter? So I see Cincinnati much the better team. I don't see Burrow sitting out or Chase. I think they're hungry to get out with the win. LA, Seattle, must win for Seattle. Coach Pete will get you the win. Over under 41.5. Again, the Rams put up 50 on Denver, 10 on Green Bay, and 10 on who did they play last week? They got you 10 on San Diego. So I don't know. And that was a home game for LA. So it's really confusing how Denver just laid down apparently, but against Green Bay and against San Diego, they got 10 points. So now I can't really bet them over, although this isn't over. Seattle, as we know, is explosive. What did Seattle do last week? Seattle got the win. They beat the Jets 23-6. So they played pretty good defense against Mike White. They did get 23 on the Jets' strong defense. So that let's look at the defense. The Rams do not have a good defense because Aaron Donald is not playing anymore. So I think Seattle just lights it up. It's a must win. And the Green Bay-Detroit game is at night, so it doesn't interfere. So Seattle is just they'll kill the Rams here. Mayfield, okay, good game, but Seattle gets the win. They beat the Jets to stay alive. This is a team with Coach Pete. I look at Seattle to stay alive. San Diego, 3 over Denver. San Diego, do they care? Right now, they're the 5 seed. Do they care if they're the 5 or 6 seed? They don't even know what's the difference. I think the 5 has Buffalo and the 6 gets Cincinnati. I'd rather have Buffalo. They're at Denver. The over-under is 40. Denver played a much better game against Kansas City last week. Like I told you, 27-24. So their defense is obviously losing traction. So what do we got here? We got San Diego's going to score. So we like San Diego getting the 3. Over under 40. I don't know. San Diego played some pretty good defense on the Rams, which I would have thought would have been more. Again, you've got this low number. I bet the over in one of my bets over 34, and it won. I got the 41, but I didn't play it on Teaserking. I kind of forgot to. Too much going on with all the bowls and everything. However, so it's probably an over 34. Denver's going to score with Russell Wilson. He's playing. He's pretty pissed off, so look for him to play. And then San Diego, they should score. I mean, they have the offense. So we'll see. It's probably over 34, but it's Denver. It's hard. San Diego, if they're playing this tough defense, it's an under game, but we'll see. New England, Buffalo laying 7.5, 42.5. I don't think Josh Allen sits. I think, well, we'll know after Kansas City. If Kansas City wins and they don't make up the Cincinnati game, then basically Buffalo is the 2 seed. Buffalo gets screwed because of this, as does Cincinnati. KC sneaks in, gets lucky because they didn't, they played the full 17 games. Buffalo at home, New England. Didn't New England, what did they do? They barely beat Miami last week because Skylar Thompson. So against Josh Allen, I like Buffalo here all the way. Again, now this is a point when New England needs the game to get into the playoffs. They're going to Buffalo. Now, if this is week 10, would you take New England in 13 here or Buffalo -1? This would be probably the biggest lock of the year, Buffalo -1. Now, is Buffalo sitting guys out? Have they, once KC beats Oakland, let's say, and clinches, fine. Now, if Oakland manages to win with Stidham, as they almost beat the Niners miraculously, then what do you have with this game? No, then all of a sudden Buffalo can be the 1 seed. If Buffalo can be the 1 seed, they're going to murder New England. New England won't have a chance, which then puts Miami and Pitt in, and Miami is going to be in all sorts of trouble against the Jets, because they're a dog. Tagliavue's out, which leaves Bridgewater or Thompson. Thompson, they don't have a chance. Bridgewater, they have maybe a little chance. I like the Jets and the points, and the Jets are going to play. See, this is the funny part. The Jets are out of it. They're going to play. Yeah, they lost to Seattle, but they were a road favorite, and you knew they were going to lose. This game, they're the road dog. They're more comfortable, and they're going to play. They don't want Miami in the playoffs if they can beat it. So now it becomes this pride issue of we can keep them out of the playoffs, and that's what ends up happening this week. Who can I keep out of the playoffs? And that's what Detroit's going to do. If Seattle wins, which they will against the Rams, now Detroit keeps Green Bay out of the playoffs, so they're going to play. Green Bay gets in the playoffs. Green Bay is going to beat them. Only laying 4.5. Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding. Hey, Prophet, how are you? Crazy game last night, huh? So are they going to make the game up? Does anybody know if they're making that game up, or is it just Buffalo, and since you get fucked over, they can't catch Kansas City now because Cincinnati was catching KC and passing them. Anyway, let's see. So where are we? So New England, Buffalo. So Buffalo will depend on the KC game and what the makeup is. If KC wins, beats Oakland, which is not sure. They only beat Denver by 3. If they do, then Buffalo loses the 1 seed, has nothing to play for, unless they play for the guy who just had the heart attack. I don't know. But otherwise, Buffalo would beat New England. See, Buffalo is a better team than Buffalo will beat New England 99 times out of 100 if Buffalo plays. And that's your question, is Buffalo playing? And I think they do. I don't think they just sit it out. They got the playoff game the next week. Do they rest Josh Allen? He's had this elbow for the whole year, but there doesn't seem to be a problem with him throwing the ball. I think Buffalo at home plays. They probably play for the guy and destroys New England. Detroit, Green Bay only laying 4.5, 48.5 now to 49.5. I already put it in over 48.5. This is the free pick. Green Bay will destroy this Detroit terrible defense. Detroit will find a way to score against Green Bay. Now, I watched this Minnesota-Green Bay game. That was the game I had here. And it was unbelievable, Minnesota, how badly they choked. You cannot bet Minnesota to win a playoff game ever. Kirk Cousins has to be the worst quarterback in a pressure game I've ever seen. Prophet, I heard they may push the schedule back a week. How can they do that? So you mean they're going to play week 18 and then they're going to have the Buffalo-Cincinnati game week 19 and then start the playoffs week 20? Huh. Has to be played by tomorrow night because there has to be a minimum of 4 days between games like they did for 9/11. Well, I certainly hope they play it. I don't see why they can't play it tonight. The teams are there. Just play it. Okay, the guy's in the hospital. We've had many guys get hurt in a football game. That's pretty normal. But I don't see how they got to play the game. They've got to. There's too much on the line for Buffalo Cincy, which will be good because I have the game over. I mean, that was the bet. It was 7-3. I saw in the first quarter. I'm going, okay, I'm getting, I got my 10 points and Burrow's hot. Buffalo returned home last night. What the fuck did they do that for? So that's stupid. I mean, I'd be playing the game today. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't play it last night. I get the guy got hurt. It happens. It had, like I said, I don't know if you heard this one, but in the 1960s, Detroit was playing Chicago, and Chuck Hughes was a tight end for the Lions. We ran across the middle. Dick Butkus hit him so hard he actually killed him. And the guy's lying on the field, and he died on the field. They wheel him off. Third down. The game never stopped, and the guy died in the middle of the field, and the game never stopped. So I don't get it. People get injured all the time. They get the serious injuries. Mackenzie Milton, where he almost lost his leg. Alex Smith, where he almost lost his leg. You wheel him off, you take him to the hospital, and you keep going. You don't stop the game because the guy, I don't know what he had, a heart attack. I mean, it's just another injury. It's football. I didn't see the play. I haven't watched the game. I don't know if they will show the play, but you don't stop the game for it. They have that free week between the championship games and yeah. So they're going to move the whole schedule back to then, but they got all the TV for next week's playoff games, right? So this week's coming up. Then you have all your playoff games. So you're saying they're going to play Buffalo, Cincinnati, and waste the whole playoff? I just don't understand. Why don't they play the game tonight? Maybe. I don't. I just doubt it. I think they need to play the game tonight, but they don't want to, because otherwise, KC wins, they're the 1 seed. They lose, and Buffalo can be the 1 seed, and Cincinnati gets fucked. Cincinnati now wins the division because they only have 4 losses. And Baltimore's got 6, so it's a meaningless game. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. Only in the NFL. We got a lock over in the game, and only in the NFL do they postpone a game because of an injury. It just is insane. It's the NFL. This is how socialist the league's getting. Oh, somebody got really seriously injured. Well, big fucking deal. There was coaches that had heart attacks, and they had to take them to the hospital in the middle of the game. They didn't stop the game. They will definitely play it at some time. Well, they have to, and I hope so. But it's fucking up this week because now I don't know what to do, right? You can't do it like that because now is the Buffalo, all right, Cincinnati plays Baltimore. Is that a meaningful game now? Buffalo plays New England. Is that a meaningful game? Are they going to assume they're going to play Cincy? And then, so now they got to kill New England because now they want to be the 1 seed. And what if KC loses? Now it's all fucked up. KC loses, Cincinnati beats Buffalo and beats Baltimore. They're the 1 seed. So how does Cincinnati prepare for this week? How does Buffalo prepare for this week? Because they can be the 1 seed if KC loses. So now they got to then beat New England and Baltimore to get to the Cincinnati Buffalo game. Ryan, they should have finished it yesterday. You're going to bring everybody back, talking to fans, refs, players, and already well, I agree 100%, Ryan. I don't understand it, why you would have postponed a game because of an injury. There's coaches that have died on the stand. Like I told you, Dick Buckus killed the guy in the Lions in the 60s, and they carried him off, and next play, they didn't even go to commercial. Oh, this guy's dead, but okay, let's go. Second down. Coaches have had heart attacks and strokes they keep going. They don't stop. Ryan, what happened to the player was bad. How is it any less bad today compared? Well, how is it worse than a guy like Mackenzie Milton who hurts his knee that they almost had to amputate his leg, or Alex Smith who killed his knee, or Joe Theismann? You remember the Joe Theismann hit, right? His knee got bent back so bad he can barely walk now. They carried him off, and the new guy came on, and they ran the next play. I mean, it's an injury, and it's football. You're going to get injuries, but why would this injury postpone a game? Oh, it was critical? Well, okay. It's an injury, though, and I agree, and it's football, and you can't – look at all the betting. What happens to our bets? I got the game bet over with the TCU-Georgia game. I had it bet over with the Green Bay. It was my lock game. Is this game over? Now what do I do with it? Is it, what the fuck? Profit, wouldn't be fair to give Buffalo and Cincy an extra week off. Well, the whole thing's ridiculous. No, they need to play the game. Should have played last night. It was already, I don't know, when did it happen? First quarter, second quarter? I mean, I saw 7-3 with 7 minutes left, Cincinnati. So I know they got to that point. I don't know if this was a second quarter score or a second. This happened in the second quarter, third quarter. I don't get a box score. All it says is postponed. So again, why you cannot cancel? What's the point of the canceling? Well, he's really injured. Well, so the guy who hurt his knee is not really injured. It's the same thing. So it happened in the first quarter. Ryan, everyone knows Goodell is the worst commissioner. Yeah, he's if he made this call, he should be fired. But you can't fire him because he works for the owners and makes them money. That's his only job, is to make the owners money, not to make the game good. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty stupid. The whole thing's pretty stupid. That game should have concluded, or at worst, play it today. But as you guys have said, the fans were there, the refs are there. Why would Buffalo go home? Well, what are they thinking? So you're just not going to play? It's not that it's unfair that they get the bye. It fucks everything up because now Cincinnati clinches the division. KC basically clinches the 1 seed without having to play. It's ridiculous. My sportsbook told me any wager on the Buffalo is still active for 48 hours. No, they postponed the game. The bet's canceled. The bet's just it's canceled, so you get your money back. Don't let them not pay you back. If you bet 110 to win 100 or whatever you did, you get your money back. That's avoided. The game has to go, I believe, up to 2 minutes left. So it's got to go 58 minutes to be a complete game. If it ain't, it's a no bet, and you get your money back. So that's what should happen. I have it as part of a 2-team teaser. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, I hope you bet it over because that was the bet. But I'm pissed. I had it locked with the Green Bay over. That was my strongest lock. Was that. And then with the TCU game, I added that with the TCU game because I lost the Philly Cincinnati over. When I lose the Philly part of it, I come back and find another because I still love the game over. So then I found the TCU Georgia game to go with it. Buffalo over and Penn State under. Did Penn State? Well, what happened in the Penn State game? Why did Rising not play the second half? Was he injured? Or was it, let's play the fourth stringer so we give up? Ryan, if the offensive line coach patched out on the sideline, would they have canceled it? No, it's happened before. That fucking head coach had a stroke and they kept going. That's not uncommon, the coaches having a stroke. I mean, it's so stressful. But they've never canceled the game for an injury before. Like I said, the guy died in the Lion Bear game. I don't know if it's 6-7 or 68. Buckus hits the tight end over the middle and kills him. And they didn't cancel the game. They just kept going. Okay, let's wheel him off. They don't know that he died right away. They thought maybe it was something else, and they wheeled him off. And they said he died. Okay, third and 10. Let's go, boys. Profit. It stayed under if you tease Penn State under 61. What was the final? 34-20 or something. But what happened to Rising? Because I see some other guy in the second half. I was happy to see Rising. Then when they didn't score in the second half, I knew he didn't play. I'm like, what the fuck? You're not sure? I didn't see him get hurt. I watched the first half, then I went in the pool. So I was expecting to see the fourth quarter when I got out of the pool, because I'm not in the pool that long. So I was expecting to see it, and I didn't see him in the, I think I saw the end of the game, and it was still 20 or 21 or something. I'm going, is Rising playing? Because they should have scored 40 points. And that's what sucks about the Bulls. Hopefully we get rid of that with the playoffs. A team like Utah, USC, UCLA, Kansas State will be in the playoffs, and then you don't have to worry about the guys sitting out or transferring. It's not going to happen. All right, back to this. So Detroit, Green Bay, the free play is over. It's an over team. Detroit scores, has no defense. Green Bay with Rodgers is scoring. So Green Bay, look for Green Bay to put up a 30 in this game easily. Detroit in the 20s, in the 50s. We tease it down to 42.5. Detroit might score a little bit more. Detroit's going to run and ruin Green Bay's season anyway. We do like Seattle to win and then hope Green Bay wins. I can't imagine Seattle losing at home after beating the Jets, and now got the Rams, where Mayfield, one day he looks good and one day he looks like shit. So it's looked like shit twice. I can't imagine, Seattle held the Jets to 6, although it was Mike White. I still can't believe the Jets were made favorite in that game. I mean, and I can't believe I didn't lock Seattle. I love Seattle. I had them in 2 teasers, but I can't imagine why I didn't lock them instead of Philadelphia. That's what fucks your mind up, right? You lock Philly, they need it for the 1 seed. Minshew's okay. New Orleans, and New Orleans beats them. And then here's Seattle, which you love as a home dog, as much as you love Philadelphia, but you didn't lock them. And that's what really kills you, because that was a stronger lock than Philly. But again, that's hindsight. Philly now needs the win for a 1 seed. Hurts is still injured, so I don't know if he's playing. I can't believe they didn't cancel the Philly game when Hurts got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. Tagovailoa had the concussion. Why didn't they cancel that game? Unbelievable. I think Detroit will play Green Bay tough. I don't know about that. I think Green Bay will win because they're hot, but I think there's going to be plenty of points. Rodgers is going to light up Detroit, especially since they didn't punt in the first game. They scored 9 points because he threw 4 interceptions in the end zone, which I think he fixed the game. He was upset. Now, the way he's playing, he's going to light up Detroit. They've got the receivers going. Detroit can't cover the win, but Detroit scores. That's why I think it'll be high scoring. But the better defense is Green Bay. And again, Minnesota looked like total crap. They blocked the punt. They got the ball 1st and goal in the 1, and they don't score a touchdown. And you want to be the 1 seed or the 2 seed? You suck, Minnesota. You have no chance against Frisco. You have probably no chance against Green Bay. And if Philly figures out how to play with Minshew, you have no chance against Philly. I doubt they have a chance against Green Bay. I doubt they have a chance against who's the other 2 seeds? Tampa Bay. There's no way Minnesota can beat Tampa Bay because Brady's turning it on now. So I don't see anybody Minnie can beat in the NFC. I mean, they lost to the Lions and now they got killed by Green Bay. Minnie is a choke team because Kirk Cousins is a bad quarterback. You can say he's got good stats, but when you got 1st and goal at the 1 on a block punt early in the game and you don't score a touchdown, you got a bad quarterback. He did a pass on 1st down, ran it into the middle of the next 2. Why are you running it into the middle? You're the fucking quarterback. Change the play, do a sweep off there, or do a quick pass to Jefferson, something. You can't run it up the middle and gain nothing on first and goal to one, second and goal to one, third and goal to one, and not get a yard. The fuck kind of quarterback is that? That's all quarterback. All right, the Giants and Philly. Bobby Bo. Now, I did a gold show just for you, Bobby, but I did it separately because it was like 30 minutes, and I could focus just on the gold and the silver. So you'll like that. Make sure you watch it. It's just a half. What's up, Professor? We're stuck on a call. No. My class comes before your calls, unless it's Barry Bonds, okay, or Verlander, one of the guys, then okay. But then they should be in class too. They should be learning about this stuff. All right. Philly 14, 42 and a half. Now, I don't see Hurts playing, so I don't know that. I agree, Professor. If you look up the word joke in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Or Lamar Jackson, I guess, or Kyler Murray, or the Detroit Lions. They're a joke. So why is Philly 14? The Giants, you don't think the Giants are going to play? They just got all these wins. They're on a hot streak. What are they going to sit everybody out to rest them? They don't get hurt. We're going to go be the pussy route where we don't want anybody to get hurt. It's football. Jesus Christ. I think the Giants come to play. They got killed by Philly the first time. They lost by 30 points. There's a little revenge going on. Philly couldn't beat New Orleans. How are they going to win this game by 14 over the Giants? Do the Giants have anything to play for? No. Does San Diego have anything to play for? No. Does Denver have anything to play for? No. Does New Orleans, Carolina have anything? They're still going to play the games, and it's still professional football, and this is the last week of the year. Believe me, they are playing, and they're going to play to win because that's what athletes do. We play to win. If I'm playing anything, poker, blackjack, whatever, I'm playing to win, craps. So Philly minus 14 is way too big. Even if Hurts plays, he's injured. Obviously, he's seriously injured. If he didn't play last week, you don't want to play him this week. They do want the 1 seed, but I don't know. I think Frisco's going to end up with it. I don't think Philly can beat the Giants with Minshew. The coach doesn't call the right plays for Minshew. That's why they got 10 points, and he throws a pick six. So it's 13-10. We could go win the game. That's my lock. Philly +1. And he throws a pick six. That's terrible play calling by the coach. Terrible read by Minshew to throw it into the coverage to get it pick six. So if it's Minshew again, there's no way they'll cover. I think the Giants play, and I will not touch Philly in this game, even though it's for the 1 seed. Yeah, so was last week against New fucking Orleans, okay? And the Giants, I think, are better than New Orleans. Houston, Indy, who gives a shit? Indy minus 2.5, 38.5. I mean, Indy's so bad. I think you got to take Houston here, but I have a rule. I don't bet on the worst team. So that leaves you maybe going under 38.5. Indy has no offense, no quarterback. Ellinger's the quarterback. The other guy got hurt? Foles. What are you doing, Indy? I mean, what are you doing? Why would you go to Foles? You have Ellinger. Either Ellinger sucks or he can play, but you got to get him out on the field when you're 2-14. What the fuck are you doing with Foles? Getting him ready for next year? That's what training camp's for. You don't need him there. You don't even know who your offensive coordinator is. Is Saturday even the coach? I mean, you have so much doubt. Why would Foles be your quarterback? Gives me my best chance to win on my 3-win team. Unbelievable. Frisco, Arizona. Now we know Kyler Murray's out. It's not even questionable. He's out. We know now you have the second quarterback of McCoy questionable. The third quarterback, who's Trace McSorley, apparently isn't playing, and they went to this Blau, who was the Detroit backup. So you've got problems with Arizona. The Niners, I'm a little shocked the way they played Oakland. They had them 34-27, could have put them away against, against whatchamacallit, Stidham. I remember the name. I'm so happy. Purdy's going. McCaffrey, Frisco. Philly and Frisco are on at the same time. They're 1:00. Minnie's on at 1:00. Frisco, Philly, and Dallas are 4:00. So what you have is you've got to play. All three of these teams have to play, because if Philly wins, they're the 1 seed. But if they lose, the Niners win, they're the 1 seed. If they both lose, Dallas is the 1 seed. And if all three of them lose and Minnie wins, they're the 1 seed. So it's a very strange thing going on here, that Dallas is even alive to win their division and or the 1 seed. So with all that said, you got Frisco at home, you got Philly at home. Frisco's playing probably the worst team in Arizona, laying the 14. I think the Niners just destroy them because of the defense. That defense. Now, I don't know what happened to it against Oakland last week. What the fuck was that? But they got the win. Brock Purdy's not your problem. I don't know what happened to the defense. But Kyler Murray could run a little bit, but you don't even have that if it's Blau or McSorley or Colt McCoy. None of them run. So the Niners will just eat that up. And Purdy will have a big day. McCaffrey, it's for the 1 seed, because they got to assume Philly's going to lose as bad as they're playing. So Frisco will play. Now, again, you're 14, laying 8. Can we go over under 40.5? The Niners have the best defense in the league. Arizona, I don't know if they're going to score or not. I didn't think Oakland was going to score last week with Stidham. So depending on who you got, are you going to get – is Arizona going to score? And then what does the Niners do? So it's a big line at 14. I don't like laying 8. Maybe the Niners can cover the 8, but that's real iffy in the NFL. Nobody covers big numbers. Look at KC last week. Must win for the 1 seed, and they played Denver 27-24 at home, winning on a field goal at the end. Like, really? This is your number 1 seed against Denver? So I like Frisco. I think they'll be the 1 seed. I don't know. Philadelphia, I don't know what they're doing with Minshew, and I'm sure the Giants want to beat them. That's the way the Giants are. If they have a chance, if they're in the playoffs or not, they're going to come and play. The Niners, 40.5. Do we go under 46.5? I'm worried about they score, and then now I'm worried about their defense. Like, where the fuck was it last week? So let's say the Niners play better on defense. Maybe it's an under. I don't know how you can take Frisco laying 8, even though they have to win for the 1 seed. Having to win means 3 points. It doesn't mean 25 points. Atlanta, Tampa. Okay, why is Atlanta favored? Is Brady not playing? Julio Jones, I'm sure, is not playing. Is Brady not playing in this game? Because if he is, and I got Brady in 10 against Atlanta, I'm putting a lock on that game. How the fuck can Atlanta be favored by 4 with Ritter as their quarterback? He barely beat Arizona with Blau as their quarterback. I mean, Brady's starting to get it going. They've clinched the division, but they're not. Brady has never rested. Never at New England. They'd be undefeated. He didn't rest. They kept playing. I think Brady plays, and I think they easily beat Atlanta. I do not understand this spread unless they're sitting out Brady and Evans and half their defense. Bobby. Profit. Do you handicap the NBA and college hoops? A little on NBA, but mostly playoffs. I gave a 50-unit lock to Nick last year. We took Golden State in game 2. They lost game 1 at home, and they had to win game 2 or they'd go down 2-0 and have to go to Toronto for 2 or 3 games. So that was a 50-unit lock. Take Golden State -3, and Golden State won by 40. So I do the playoffs, not right. It's hard because I focus on football. Basketball is every day, but it would be the same philosophy. Find your good defensive teams, find your weak defensive teams, and just bet against the weak defensive teams. And then the good defensive teams play another good defensive team, bet the game under. Or if 2 weak defenses play each other and they have good offenses, play the game over. So the system works as far as, are they A teams? Are they over teams? Are they under teams? Are they Z teams? And that's what you look for with the stats. Like Detroit seems to be a over team. They have no defense. They can't stop a high school team. So I'm going to bet them over a lot when they play good scoring teams. But no, I just don't have time to do it. And, it's just too hard to get into every night. Then you got the back-to-back games, then you got 3 games in 4 nights. So you got to put up all these different things. So I've never really seriously got into basketball until the playoffs, and then I do. But we'll talk about it. Bobby, Colts quarterback is a circus group. So is the Arizona quarterback group. Absolutely. But they won't draft a good quarterback. No. Ryan, Foles has one of the weirdest careers in history. Back around 09-10, he threw for 27-2 and hardly played again after that. He was good at Houston. I remember watching him at Houston. I thought he was a good quarterback. He gets drafted. He does what you say. He wins the Super Bowl. You're not even talking about that for Philadelphia. Philadelphia pulled a Michigan, right? So Philadelphia has Foles. He wins the Super Bowl, and they say, you know what? We're letting you go for Carson Wentz. That was a real smart move. What did Michigan do? They win with McNamara. They get all the way to to play Georgia, and they lose, but they were pretty competitive against that Georgia team. Then you got them. They get rid of the quarterback, and then they don't have, their schedule is a bunch of high school teams. They beat Ohio State somehow, and then they go in and get crushed by TCU because their quarterback throws 2 pick sixes and can't hit the broadside of a barn because you switch quarterbacks. It amazes me how bad the coaching is. When they have a good quarterback, he wins for you and you get rid of him. Well, that's what you're looking for, is the quarterback that can win. The problem is the Trevor Lawrences, the Tagliabuas, the Mac Jones, who aren't good, who they keep, and they're not even good quarterbacks. Zappy comes in for New England, and where's he? Why isn't he playing? And then you've got Trevor Lawrence, who they should get rid of if anybody's stupid enough to take him, and go draft Rising or one of our guys, Hartman, or one of our guys that are outstaying. Even this Duggan looks fine. I mean, he put up 50 points on Michigan. No problem. I'm going to run that TCU offense in the pros because they score on they average 40 a game. And they're going to put up a lot on Georgia. This spread is so strange. Georgia 14-60. I don't even understand the spread. We saw an 80-point game with Georgia and Ohio State, and we saw a 90-point game with TCU and Michigan. What am I missing? You have a 60 and a 14.5, as if Georgia dominated Ohio State 52-0. What the fuck is going on and with these idiots? And you want to tell me Vegas knows how to put a line out? My spread would be Georgia probably 7 and probably over under of 65. That would be my line. And I don't know, and I'd be betting that over. I don't normally bet Georgia over, but the defense I just saw against LSU and against Ohio State, I'm off the bus of the Georgia under for now. Ryan, then he wins the Super Bowl against Brady and hardly plays again after that. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And again, I said for Houston in college, he was very good. He had really good stats. So I don't know, and then you get a guy like Lamar Jackson who can't win shit, and they keep playing him like he's the answer. It just doesn't make sense. All right, so Frisco we think wins. It's a tough one, laying 14, teasing it down to 8. It's a bad number. They probably will win, but I don't know if they'll cover 14. Again, Arizona, who's their quarterback? They all suck. Even Murray sucks. And then, but if I think Frisco wins the game like 33-0 here. I think they just really get focused because they can be the 1 seed. They're on at the same time of Philly. Now, they're not going to pull Brock Purdy. They might pull McCaffrey. So let's say Philly's up 31-0. Okay, they're going to win. We're not going to be the 1 seed. Let's pull McCaffrey. Let's pull some defense. Let's not get anybody hurt. I don't know if that will happen. They're not going to pull Purdy. So then it makes it, what do you do with them? But by then, so they're going to have to play at least 3 quarters because Philadelphia is not blown out the Giants because the Giants are going to play. Rylan, Harbaugh benched Alex Smith for Kaepernick. I thought that was a bad move also. Well, I thought he got stuck with Alex Smith. I never liked Kaepernick. I thought they should have run with the Boise quarterback who beat Kaepernick in that one game. I would have went with my guy. I can't. What's the lefty? And Bobby, did you watch my pick about taking Boise over Virginia Tech 5 years ago when I gave you the score 30-27? It was a week 1 game. And Boise, Kellen Moore. I thought they should have traded for Kellen Moore because he was a lot better than Kaepernick and Smith. I didn't think Smith was good at Utah because they ran the Urban Meyer spread when nobody knew what it was, and then it worked good. Now it doesn't work at all because everybody knows it. Yeah, so, I mean, Harbaugh's made a lot of bad moves. Switching the quarterback here was terrible. If you understand, Harbaugh has never won the big game. All right? He was on the Niners against the Giants when they beat New England. He had the game won, easy. All he had to do was field 1 of 2 punts. He didn't do it. The one guy fumbles the first punt. He puts him out there for the next punt in the 4th quarter, and the guy fumbles that punt, and the Giants kick a field goal to win. That's on Harbaugh. A guy who can't handle a championship game and fumbles the punt does not get on the field for the rest of the game, and probably I cut him because that's what I need, a guy who plays good in big games, and it cost him. And I think he lost to the Giants again. And then he finally gets in against Baltimore in the Super Bowl, and he gets crushed. Then he makes this miraculous comeback because miraculously the power goes out. Yeah, what was that about? So anyway, that's Harbaugh's a choke. He choked at Stanford when they were good. He never won anything. And now at Michigan, he chokes constantly, finally wins, but then he gets to the playoffs. He can't handle Georgia. Now he can't handle TCU because his quarterback's throwing 2 pick sixes because you go to the wrong quarterback. I don't know. I used to say you got deceived into thinking he was a good quarterback coach because he was a quarterback at Michigan and on the Bears. But if you really look at him in the NFL, he sucked. There was a Monday night game, and the Bears are up like 14-0. And it's just like, just go ahead and, run the ball. Harbaugh throws a pass that gets pick sixed for 65 yards. And all of a sudden, Minnesota's got the lead. And this is the year the Bears were undefeated, I believe. And Harbaugh, and then Jim McMahon comes back in to win the game at the end. Just Harbaugh, he sucked at Pitt. He sucked at San Diego. He's not a good quarterback, nor was he a good reader of quarterback. So everybody gave him credit for Andrew Luck, but it wasn't him. It was Oliver Luck, his father, who played in the NFL, who taught him how to quarterback, and he just used them. As I say a lot, it wasn't Belichick, it was Brady, and Belichick gets all the credit. He won all these Super Bowls where it was because Brady didn't want to lose because Brady's kind of a baby, and Brady, wants to win and has that chip on his shoulder. 50 years later, after being drafted in the 7th round, he still has the chip. Ryan, good chance you could see quarterback versus San Francisco first round. That would be a very good game. I'm missing something. Good chance you could see. Oh, Green Bay. I'm sorry. I don't know if Green Bay can win that game, but that'll be a very good game if it's played. I'll tell you who is not winning a playoff game. That's Minnesota. And Tampa's going to struggle. I don't know. I mean, maybe Tampa put it together against Carolina, but unless they get new coaches in, I don't see Tampa doing shit either. So Tampa, Minnesota will be the first 2 out. And then I know they won't win a game either with Dak Prescott. All right, so let's see. Atlanta, Tampa, we're like, we like Tampa. Unless it's announced that they're resting their whole team. If Brady's not playing, if Brady's playing, you give me Brady and 10 against Ritter? Really? Thank you very much. Dallas, 5.5. Washington, 41.5. What used to be a good defensive team, Dallas, is now a terrible defensive team because Prescott throws too many interceptions, doesn't rest his defense. And it totally slips the coaching staff, right? Cooper Rush, they went undefeated. They give up 5 points a game, and they'd win 20-5, 26. Now, with Prescott, they lose half the games because their defense, which was a 10, is now a 30 because they don't get rest. Now, Dallas should beat Washington in Washington, especially if Wentz is quarterback. So you got to like Dallas here. Dallas must win the game, especially if Philly loses. Now, they're all on at the same time. So Dallas goes out saying, we got to win. Look at Philly. They're losing. Especially if Minshew's the starter, I look for Dallas and Frisco to win big because they'll put it in their mind that Philly's going to lose. So Frisco can be the 1 seed. Dallas can win the division. And that's what Philly deserves if they're going with Minshew and they don't design the offense for Minshew. That's a big problem if they're not changing their offense for Minshew. So I like Dallas there. This is the key about the same time. They go in figuring they have to win. It's one thing like if KC wins and then that locks out Buffalo, then maybe Buffalo doesn't try. They can't catch the 1 seed. But with KC playing the game the day before, what the fuck is that? That's terrible. That game should not be on Saturday. They should change that with like the San Diego-Denver game. Should go to Saturday and move the KC game to the same time as the Buffalo game. So you gotta like Dallas. You gotta, especially at Minshew, you gotta think Philadelphia gonna lose because they can't beat anybody apparently without Hurts. They've made their offense too quarterback runny. But what I mean is there's too many running plays for the quarterback and Minshew doesn't run. So with Hurt, he doesn't throw the ball enough and he's not as, so the defense has to watch Hurts and they spy him and he takes up players with him running and they call the plays for him to run or scramble and all that. But with Minshew, the play calling is different. There's no he's going to run. The defense plays different. So if the offense is not used to Minshew, they're fucked because the plays are called for Hurts, not Minshew. They got to change their plays, and they're not doing it. They should not have only scored 13 against New Orleans. Give me a break. And the week before, who did they lose to? So Philly lost to Dallas. Now, see here against Dallas, 40-34. They scored 34 points. Where's this against New Orleans? Are you kidding me? So that's what really scrambles your mind. They should have put up points against New Orleans. And then he caps it with the pick six. So it's 13-10. Where's all the points in the first half? When Philly doesn't score, they miss field goals, or they, God forbid, went for it on 4th down 8 times or whatever the fuck they did. So like Dallas. And then the last game on my sheet is Miami and the Jets. This is the way the schedule was on Sunday, I believe. Miami, 1.5, 38.5 on the Jets. I like the Jets, Jets here. Miami, Tagliabue was out. Bridgewater's injured. If he plays, he's playing injured. And then Skylar Thompson, he couldn't beat a college team. I mean, he was terrible at Kansas State. I love when these quarterbacks are terrible in college, and then they're on the NFL roster, and you're like, but like Davis Mills, he sucked at Stanford. I think they won 2 games. Oh, he's the answer? Really? Trevor Lawrence, he's the answer? Any big game, he chokes? So you watch Jacksonville choke this week against Tennessee. So Miami favored against the Jets. I like the Jets. Miami needs the game. I don't give a shit. The Jets are going to play strong defense, which Miami won't like. And then the quarterback's not going to be able to hit Hill and those guys. White will have a good day against this terrible Miami defense. So I look for the Jets to cover with 7.5 in a teaser. Over under 38.5. If it's Skylar Thompson, then yes, it's an under, just because the Jets have such a strong defense. And that's what you got to realize about the Jets. Even though they lost to Seattle, it was 23-6. Holding Seattle to 23 is very strong. So they have a great defense, the Jets. So keep that in mind. So the last game is the Detroit game. That's the Sunday night game. And again, if Seattle wins that game, then Green Bay wins, they're in. If Detroit wins, Seattle's in. So if Seattle wins, Detroit's out. Detroit will still play to knock Green Bay out because it's a rivalry. But I love that Minnesota was playing to beat Green Bay, right? What did you hear? And I think I mentioned this. Minnesota is trying to get Green Bay out of the playoffs. Now, if you say that, you probably should win the game. But what happened? They lost 41-17. Yeah, 41. They were trying to get Green Bay out of famous last words. Let's piss off the other team. And the game was over on the block punt. Minnesota has the ball at the 1-yard line, 1st and goal, a minute into the game on a block punt, and they can't score a touchdown. And the game's over. Did you try a Dave Casper play? No. Why didn't you try a Dave Casper play? It's going to be on 3rd and goal. It's a Dave Casper, fake it to Cook. Everybody's going to be here. The tight end kind of gets lost, gets behind because nobody's guarding. The tight end's blocking. That's why the play works, right? The tight end's blocking. They fake it to Cook. The tight end then gets up and just goes. There's nobody in the secondary. He's wide open 100% of the time. So what the fuck are you doing not running the Dave Casper play, which is why these teams suck. They're too fucking stupid. Profit. The NFL just announced they will not resume the Bills-Bengals game this week. Well, what the fuck does that mean? So they're not resuming it this week. Are they going to resume it next week? You can't play it like that. Because they're going to play the Buffalo now has to play New England different. And so does Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati now has to beat Baltimore and Buffalo now has to beat New England because now they're playing for the 1 seed. So in effect, it makes it better. So Profit, does that mean that they're going to resume it at some point? How can they do that? They got the playoffs the following week. They can't play Sunday and then play the Buffalo-Cincinnati game on Monday. You can't. It's not baseball. You can't have a doubleheader. So the earliest they would play it is Thursday, but they got the playoffs starting on Sunday. So I don't see how they resume the game at all. I think it's a terrible decision. Like I said, sorry the guy got hurt, but that's part of football. The quicker they realize it's a contact sport and people get hurt in the game, the more enjoyable it'll get again. What was I watching? I was watching something. I think it was probably the Utah game. And there's a minute left of the quarter, and there's, I think, an injury or an instant replay. So you go to commercial for 5 minutes. You don't even know what you're watching. There's so many commercials. Then they go and they do whatever. They run a couple plays. It's the end of the quarter, and they got another 5 minutes of commercials. I was at the point I don't even know what game I'm on. I don't even know what I'm watching on TV. It's just commercials. We're getting so bombarded with commercials. It's insane. So to recap, the Green Bay Detroit game is over. Is the freebie. Outside of that, Seattle must win. Frisco, it's tentative. It's 14. Atlanta looks like a strong dog, depending if they're playing. Dallas looks like a strong favorite. The Jets I like as a dog. Philly, I will never cover with Minshew. I guarantee you the Giants are not resting. New England Buffalo, with this news, Buffalo now, if they think they're going to play Cincy later, has to win to have a chance at the 1 seed anyway. So I think, because if they win, well, KC's still a game up on them. So I'm not sure there. Seattle must win. They'll win. Cincinnati, I don't know what this means. They've clinched the division because they have 4 losses to 6. But if they're going to play Buffalo, they could lose and they could tie at 6. So maybe that makes Cincinnati have to win. Minnesota in a must-win game against the Bears. Well, we can't trust Minnesota in a must-win, so we must go over with that game because Minnesota, probably the largest choke team in the history of life since the 75, 76, 77 Vikings that lost 4 Super Bowls. If Staubach didn't complete that Hail Mary in Minnesota when Dallas played Pitt, do you realize Minnesota would have lost to Miami, then lost to Pittsburgh twice in a row? So they would have lost 5 Super Bowls. Pittsburgh would have killed them the next time, and they beat them in the first time they played, and Miami just destroyed them. Minnesota's problem was always they couldn't run the ball and they couldn't stop the run. They were geared to pass and stop the pass. But against running teams like Miami and Franco Harris, they didn't have a chance. Oakland lit them up. That team. See, that's like New England. They were good in their conference. All they had was Dallas. That's all they had to beat. There was nobody else there. So they beat Dallas, but they couldn't win a Super Bowl because Dallas was not a running team. So therefore, they played a defense that beat Dallas, but couldn't beat a strong Miami running or a strong Pitt running, right? So they weren't made. Pitt was made to beat Oakland running the ball with Franco, and that's what they did. And the defense was made to stop the run and play defense, which is what it did. That was the key to Pittsburgh. If they end up canceling the game, they could always use the winning percentage of each team. Well, let's say they do that. I mean, Cincinnati wins the division because they only got 4 losses. If Kansas City loses and Buffalo wins, theoretically, Buffalo is the 1 seed, and Cincinnati gets fucked because they've got the 4 losses, but if they beat Buffalo yesterday, it gives Buffalo 4 losses, and then and then they could get Kansas City because they beat Kansas City. So Cincinnati's the one that gets fucked the most in this scenario because Buffalo wins, KC loses. They got 3 losses. They will have the better percentage over Kansas City if Kansas City loses. If Kansas City wins, it doesn't matter. So KC laying 7, I think, is a joke. I think you take them. All they got to do is lay one. See, in these clinching games is when Mahomes is at his best and when Cousins is at his worst. And when the Lions are at their Goff is at his worst. Goff is at his worst in playoff games. And that's why I say a lot. Normally Stafford is too. He got lucky all the games were at home last year. Trevor Lawrence is not good in a playoff game. Look at the Ohio State games. He didn't even complete 40% of his passes. The only reason he scored was he ran the ball. That was it. He couldn't throw the ball, and that's what he's doing now is he's running it. Pittsburgh, I love over Cleveland. What is that? Pittsburgh is playing at the same time Miami is in New England. But if Buffalo now needs the game, New England's not going to win, so Pitt's going to play. I just don't see Tomlin not sending Pitt out to win. Okay, guys, let's lose. We got nothing to play for. I mean, come on. They've won 6 games in a row. They've been out of it. So Minnesota, we go over. In New Orleans, Carolina, we like Carolina. Baltimore, Cincy, we like Cincy. Even no matter what, we like Cincy because Baltimore has nothing to play for anymore. I mean, if this is the way it's going to be, they can't catch them. Even if Cincinnati loses, they got 5 losses, and Baltimore's got 6 thanks to Lamar. But I like Cincy. They're going to just keep going and pound them. Seattle has to win. San Diego, why do I like San Diego? Actually, they're not a good road favorite, so I probably don't like San Diego. We like Buffalo. Go over in Green Bay. Stay away from Philly unless it's Hurts. With Minshew, they don't have the offensive coordinator. It's not helping them. Houston over Indy, and probably just the Niners, Tampa Bay, Dallas, and the Jets, Jets. I like just playing the dog in the Jets games. It's one every week for me. And a lot of the times the Jets. The Jets were fine against Buffalo both times. Had them both times. They beat Miami. The Jets are – oh, no, they got Miami this week. I think they beat them the first week in New York, the game week 4 or 5. That's what we have. So yesterday we hit Illinois under. USC, what a crazy game that was, 46-45. But we had 4.5 with USC. And then Utah, again, I don't think Rising played the second half. I assume, and I'm hoping he got hurt, that the coach didn't. Why would you play him in the first half and then sit him out in the second half in the Rose Bowl? They're not doing that. So he must have got hurt. And then now it leaves TCU, Georgia. Georgia 14.5, 16.5. I like TCU in the 20, and I like over 54. And I've already played over 54. Well, I played him with the Bengals, unfortunately, which got washed out. But I've already played him in this week's game. So there's a game Sunday that I played the game over with. TCU in 20, it's a joke. TCU over 54, it's a joke. Like I said, the Bulls, I had 5 locks. I went 3-2. Oregon, I didn't like after the spread kept jumping up, and then UCLA should have won by 35 points. That was the crazy one, but Chardonnay didn't play, but he threw the 3 picks, which killed us for UCLA. Surprise, Clemson lost. Kansas State, I'm surprised, got beat the way they did. Had TCU, had Georgia, big lock with Georgia. And then yesterday, it was hard to play Utah because you didn't know if Rising was playing. The running back was out. The tight end, All-American, was out. So I wouldn't be drafting those 2 players. There's a lot better players that want to play that I would be drafting. So that's college. The 1 game left. It'll be better if there's a 12 or 16 team playoff. At least the 16 teams are going to play. Now it's like, oh, is Oregon playing? Is UCLA playing? Is the quarterback for Utah playing? Is all these guys sitting out? Texas is sitting out. Like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. So it's all for the betting and the Vegas and everything. So anyway, profit. Okay. So I answered all the questions. So that's pros. Now we got to see if anybody announces they're playing or not, which we won't know for a few days. Today's Tuesday. Probably by Thursday, we'll know. We'll have a better feel of what's going on. Anything else on football? Watch your chokes. Minnesota's the choke. Jacksonville's the choke. So you got to be careful on the choke, not to bet them, even though like New England's going to lose. You got to understand that and not, they need the game for the playoffs, so I'm betting them. That can't be the reason you bet them. Only it's one of the 5 or 6 reasons you bet them. The first reason is, oh, wait, I got Kirk Cousins. I can't bet Minnesota as a road favorite. So you get away from them because they're lousy. So you gotta make the bet as if it's a normal week and then look at it. So keep that in mind. KC, pressure game, they should win because it's up for the number 1 seed. Even no matter what happened yesterday, they lose 4 losses. Buffalo wins 3 losses. Buffalo's the 1 seed. I don't see KC. I don't get this line unless there's injuries. KC will kill Oakland because of that. They're trying to make Oakland look better with Stidham, but the Niners hadn't seen Stidham. So now that they see him, KC's got a better idea of what to look for. And, KC played a tough Denver team because they gave up 100 points the week before to the Rams. See, that's where I scratched my head. The Rams put up 50 and then put up 10 against Green Bay and 10 last week against San Diego. Well, but against Denver, where they should put up 10, they put up 50. And then they don't put up 50 against San Diego. So you're scratching your head. But that's the NFL. That's why we look at trends, and that's why we play teasers. All right, so we got the playoffs. We got to wait and see what happens. If Buffalo, since he's done, then KC needs it for the 1 seed. Buffalo, if KC loses, needs it for the 1 seed. And since he's just fucked, but then they don't need it for the division, but they're still going to win because they got Joe Burrow. All right, so we'll be good once we get into the playoffs. This is the week I won the 11 out of 11. I had 8 pro teams where the 1s needed it, the 2s needed it in both conferences. Then there was a team like Miami that, or Pittsburgh, they needed it to get into the playoffs. Everything worked. I went 8-0 this, and then I hit the 3 college games, UCLA, Michigan State, and Florida State, which gave me my 11. And it was one of those weeks where I didn't have my loser. So when I play these 10-team teasers, 18 teasers, there's always that one loser. This week it was like Philadelphia, and you're like, what the fuck? And that was like the only loser I had. And but you always have the one loser. And then that week I didn't have the one loser. I was able to avoid the one loser and go 8-0, but I had them in all these teasers, 2-team, 3-team, 7-team teasers. I'd have my top 4 or 5 and then put them with the college, and I kept just pounding it. Oh, let's pick our top 7. And then we can add 9 and 10. So it just became where you just loved all the games, and it just, that's how you do it. This week would have been, okay, if I'm in Vegas, I want to play a 10-team teaser. Kansas City, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, mini over, Cincinnati, Seattle, Detroit, Green Bay over, and Frisco and Dallas and the Jets and Tampa Bay. Now, depending if Tampa tries or not. So if Brady's playing, if he's not playing, I avoid Tampa as there may be my loser. But again, you got Ritter as the quarterback. He's not going to blow out Tampa. And Tampa, you're on the field. You're not laying down, right? So when you get on the field and the game goes, you're playing to win. I mean, that's as simple. If it's racquetball, if it's anything, it doesn't matter. Whatever the game, once you start playing it, you play to win. You have pride. You have goals. You're playing to win. So I did the gold video, strictly gold, to get the point across how we stumbled on it yesterday in class that JP Morgan owns 6. I did the math, Bobby. So JP Morgan basically owns 300 tons of gold. A ton is 32,000 ounces. So they own 300 tons. Russia owns 12,000 tons, and China owns 35,000 tons. And here's JP Morgan with 300 tons, which is still, I would love to own 1 ton. I'd be ecstatic if I owned 1 ton of gold. 32,000 ounces. I mean, I'm just trying to get to 100 and 32,000. But we know why it's price fixed. It's so they can buy more at a cheap price, because it's not, they use COMEX as the diversion to keep the price down, to make it look like there's no demand, to get people not to buy it, because there's a limited amount of it. So the banks are the ones doing the buying, and us are kind of doing the buying. going, if it's good enough for JP Morgan, he's the biggest crook in the world, must be good for us. I'll buy it also at this cheap price. So that's why you buy the cheap gold and the cheap silver. It's because it's a cheap price, and but it's done on purpose by JP Morgan, who runs COMEX, to keep the price down so they can buy it. So we know why the price is down. We know why the price is fixed. We understand all that now. So that's why I did the video just on that, so we could all understand. Because what does everybody say? Oh, I'm not buying gold. It doesn't move. Well, we know why it doesn't move, because JP Morgan wants to buy more at the low price. That's why it doesn't move, not because there's no demand. The demand's huge. Russia, China, JP Morgan, the central banks, England, Germany, the Eurozone, all these European central banks, Switzerland, they're all buying gold through as much as they can. And then there's COMEX, and JP Morgan makes a lot on COMEX. They keep the price down so you can keep buying the physical. And that's what's happening. So we don't really have a physical price of gold. We have a paper price of gold, but that's what nobody can seem to understand. That all these idiots on YouTube, everybody else, nobody understands there's no demand for physical. It's being manipulated by the paper market, which is just derivatives on 1 million ounces of gold that they don't own. So I'll do a derivative on this $1. That's it. I got $1. Let's do a derivative on this. But I'll do $1 million. Well, I only have one, but what the fuck? And that's what it is. It keeps the price down so they can buy more. So it's a simple, the price is low to buy more. That's why the price is low, not because of demand, because the price is low and they're buying it hand over fist. They got 320 fucking tons of it, and you don't think there's demand? That's just JP Morgan. I mean, you got to be fucking kidding me. China with 30,000 tons. You don't think there's demand? You don't think the price should be higher once they come out with the currency backed by gold? The BRICS countries, who are all away from the US dollar. So that is a very simple explanation to answer Bobby and all the other people who go, well, it doesn't go up. Now maybe you understand it's the central banks, it's JP Morgan, keeping it down so they can buy it. Well, why would they buy it if it's a bad asset to own, and it is an asset and it is real money? Why are they buying it? And why would they own 300 tons of it? Why would you own so much if it's not worth anything, if it's always down? So they know it's going to go up. They know it's the savior of Rome. Who are you kidding? So that's where they're at with that. So if anybody laughs at the gold, say, well, it's JP Morgan owns 300 tons of it. Hey, Bobby, I was waiting for you to respond. You're driving to a Chinese restaurant to pick up some wonton soup for this cold while listening to wonton soup. Get the General Chow. That'll be good. Put some garlic on it, and then have some green tea, man. Get this green tea in the soup. You might try this silver. Real good I had that drainage and hacking cough, and this cured it. So you might try this. It's called Sovern Silver, and you get it at like a health food place. It's like $8. And it's a spray. You just spray it in your mouth. No taste. Keep it lift your tongue, put it under your tongue. They said for 30 seconds, who the hell knows? And that you don't even swallow. I mean, you swallow it, but you don't. There's no liquid. It's a spray. Fuck it, that's scaring me. 659. I don't even know what that area code is. They're probably trying to sell me Medicare or some bullshit like that. I am tempted to grab the chicken, but don't want my digestive system working too hard so it can fight off the cold. Interesting. So why don't you just do the incremental fast for 3 days and get rid of it? I get these strange calls for because I'm not in Medicare, right? And they keep calling, oh, you want Medicare? Fuck no. I don't want a doctor because the doctors don't know what they're doing. Um, I'll do my incremental fast. That's the point of it. So anyway, that's what you do with that. But just have the green tea and some water, and the soup's okay, I guess. I remember when random sports handicap cappers from Vegas used to call me. Yeah. Well, you somehow got on a list that you probably made bets online and they wanted to get you. Now, how much was their picks? This is my point. I'm charging you like $100, but you're getting like 10 picks where they're charging you $35 for one pick. And my picks are going to win a lot more than their picks are. I guarantee you that. And you can see because I give you my picks on here ahead. And then I gave you Georgia, Tennessee, TCU. They win. I gave it to you a week before. Most of the time they would charge and sometimes give free samples. Yeah. I used to pay this guy, Ron's Enterprises, $25 back in the 70s and 80s. And he would mail it. That's because there was no internet back then. So he'd send it out Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'd get it like Thursday, and I'd get his picks, and he'd rate them between 90 and 70, or sometimes even 60. So all the ones in the 60s I just ignored. And the ones in the 80s and 90s I'd bet, and I'd win a lot of money on those. I remember he wasn't a lot. And then the Florida State-Oklahoma Orange Bowl was played, and Florida State was getting, I don't know, 13 or something. And he had it ranked at like 92. Ron Simmons, the wrestler, was on the team, and they had a good team, fast defense. And it was going to match up well with Oklahoma's fast offense. And I bet $2,000, which back in the day in the 70s was a lot of money. Now it's okay, but it's not worth as much. Back then, 2,000 would have been 10 ounces of gold, probably $200 an ounce. And now it's 1 ounce of gold. So there you go. That's the best way to put the bet. And I had 13 in Florida State in a teaser, or 20, whatever. And the game ended 18-17, Oklahoma won. So it was 17-10. Florida State blocked the punt, scored a touchdown. Mid of the fourth quarter, I knew that was it. The game's over. I won. And I watch it on YouTube every once in a while. They have that game. And that was it. They went up 17-10. I got 13 points or whatever, and that was a winner. And then Oklahoma at the end with 5 seconds left scored and went for 2. Barry Switzer. And that was it. But otherwise, it was that was his highest ranked game I ever got. It was like a 92. So because he normally gives 70s and this was a 92, I bet it pretty hard. Now, did I like Florida State? I don't know if I would have bet that much on it if I didn't have the handicapper. So what I learned was that's why I differentiate my units also. So normal unit will be, now 15, and then sometimes I do 20. But when I give you a 27 unit, I want it to be like the 90%. Like, okay, this is the one you need to bet on. Unfortunately, Cincinnati was like that yesterday, but we never got to do it. You making any trips to the Coinstar? I don't know. Probably not. I just bought an ounce of gold and 20 ounces of silver. I'm not working, so I'm not getting revenue in. So until I start getting paychecks in, it's hard. I'm keeping my money to pay the bills until I can do that. So as soon as I get a job, I'll be buying more. Ron Simmons. Yeah, he was a wrestler. He was at Florida State. He was a defensive tackle, and he hurt his knee. Ryan Williams, I'm getting sick and tired of going to the casino. I can't go to one without hearing MVP chants. Where do you go that you're hearing MVP chants? Aaron Rodgers, you're Wisconsin. Well, you got your wish. They beat Green Bay and the other team lost. So now Washington lost. So you had a good weekend. Um, Aaron Rodgers should be the MVP. I mean, Jalen Hurts, really? For what? And that again, he got hurt on a quarterback sneak in the end zone, and you're like, this is why you don't run quarterback sneaks. I was before Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and those guys, and then I like Bret Hart, and then I didn't like Shawn Michaels or Triple H and those guys. It became really strange. But before that, I liked that. I remember the first WrestleMania we were watching. I got the book. Actually, I think my brother stole it. We bought the little, what do you call it, program. It was a big 50-page program. I think my brother sent away for it, but he stole it, so I don't have it. But yeah, that was cool. That one. But yeah, I remember the wrestling. I liked it. I went to it live once at the Michigan State Fair, and if you ever go to it, don't ever go to it live. I mean, Hulk will do a drop kick and miss by 10 feet. But on TV, it looks like he hits the guy. But on there, he doesn't. He when you're live, it's not even close. But yeah, I don't like Brock Lesnar. I think he's an idiot. His matches are so boring. I'll do the Suplex City for 25 times. Like, okay, is that it? It's like sex in the same position. Okay, let's move on. What's the next position we're gonna do? I'm bored of this already. So he's terrible. He has no, The Rock had some good charisma, but these guys I can't watch it now. It's terrible. Stone Cold, I never watched it when he was there, so I sometimes watch it. And now I don't get what made him any good. He had no moves. He couldn't wrestle. He just did the stunner, which, really, is that the big move? Yeah, Bret Hart. I like Bret Hart. I thought it's terrible that his brother Owen got killed. I thought that was terrible. And it was an obvious they didn't do the chart. So Stone Cold, I never watched. I wasn't watching when he was on. But if I see him now, he's a. But again, it's the one move. He couldn't wrestle like Bret Hart. So Jesse the Body, I love Jesse, but more as a commentator. I don't think he wrestled too much. I think he wrestled like before there was TV. You see him on the Madison Square Garden one with John Valiant and those guys, and he's Jesse. But what you liked is when he did the commentary, and he's telling it the way it is. It just was so honest that you just love Jesse. I like some of his views on politics, like a no-nonsense guy. Yeah, he's very good on that one show with the podcast guy, whatever his name is. But he when you interview the guy in a normal interview, he's very smart. Like he told about the JFK, he says, I was a Navy SEAL and I was a marksman, and I tried to do what Lee Harvey did, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it quick enough. I couldn't shoot, reload, reshoot, and have to move because you had different angles. He says, I couldn't do it in the time that he would have had to do it in. And I'm a marksman. And when he said that, okay, there you go. I like Trish Stratus. She was a sexy Canadian chick. Well, yeah, the Canadian chicks are all sexy. Go to Vancouver. You want some hot Canadian chicks, although they're not as hot as the Russians. You got to go Russian one, and that includes Ukraine, and then Vancouver is probably right up there. Ultimate Warrior. I was never an Ultimate Warrior fan. I didn't like him. I thought all he was doing was Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan got tired where it's the same thing. He's getting beat, and then he does, and he starts shaking, and then he wins. It's like, oh, okay, here comes Hulk to win. The time limit is gone. He needs to pin the guy now. Did you ever watch the Hulk Hogan Knows Best, or whatever that show was? I watched that. I found that to be like kind of an interesting show. Like you get to see him more personal. Um, Jesse Ventura was saying that Bush was in on. Well, yeah, I said the same thing. And the guy would get pissed at him saying he's a conspiracy. Well, Bush was totally in on it. That's why you didn't have the airplane. Where are the airplanes? So they just let an airplane hit the Trade Center, and then not have any F-14s go, and then have another plane hit the Trade Center, and they all get demolished, like demolition style, like they do in Vegas. Really? And Bush was totally okay with that. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Well, he's big on it's not a conspiracy. It's the government lies, and all you're doing is using logic like I do and going, well, this doesn't make sense. I agree. That was a great show, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. He did a whole book on different conspiracies. Like, I doubt we went to the moon, and 9/11 was a gold robbery, and JFK was killed by the CIA. These are not conspiracies. These are what happened. Absolutely. I seen that on an interview on YouTube, and it's very entertaining. But Jesse is the man because he tells it the like. Well, everybody. Everybody wants the truth. You want me to tell you the truth. You want anybody you listen to tell you the truth. I want you to tell me the truth. Nobody wants a liar. Nobody wants a bullshitter. You want to be straight. I tell you gold is low because JP Morgan buys it. What do? I go prove it. They own 300 tons of gold. Well, what am I doing? I'm saying, look, this is what I said, and I'm backing it up so you know I'm telling you the truth. I don't have a reason to lie to you, but I'm gonna back up whatever I can back up. When I'm teaching economics, what am I doing? I'm reading my notes that I took from an economist in my master's program. So you're getting my master's class. I'm not my opinion. I'm reading what's going on, which I've interpreted into my opinion, because I know that gold's the best hedge against inflation, yada, yada, yada. So that's what I do. And everybody prefers that. Nobody wants to be lied to. That's why most marriages break up. Usually the husband's cheating, the wife finds out, and look at Tom Brady. I think they're both cheating. I don't know why they got married. I mean, to tell you the truth, I honestly, you're telling me Bunchen didn't have 25 guys on the side, and Brady is a fucking football player. They all got guys. Well, like Bobby, you're a baseball player. You didn't have girls in every town waiting for you at the hotel. Probably one a day on the road trip. You probably had 5 or 10 in each city. I mean, who are you kidding? These athletes, because girls are really strange. They won't come up to me and you. Well, not you, Bobby, but they won't come up to me and Profit. But if I was a baseball player, they'd come up to me just to say, I fucked the baseball player. Whoever it is, that's what they do to say that's what they, I fucked the guy. He was a baseball player. He was Willie Mays. I fucked Willie May. I mean, that's the mentality of women. No planes at Tower 7, but it collapsed. Well, you want to know a better one, Prophet? They called the collapse before it collapsed. So there was a news station in I think the UK and said, oh, Tower 7's collapsed. And in the background of the news, it was still up. And then like 5 minutes later, it collapsed. But they'd already called the collapse before it actually collapsed. How about that for conspiracy? Yes, I remember seeing that the World Trade Centers were closed off the weekend before Tuesday attacks, and a bunch of cars were striding through New York City like they were planting something. Yeah, well, it was a gold robbery. Again, gold robbery because of the gold's actually worth something, right? Everybody knows it, but the U.S. population. Floors. Bobby, what are you saying? Where's that? I don't know what that. I know you're saying floors, but I don't know what it refers to. Ryan, one guy was living in Florida and accused him of being one of the hijackers. He saw his picture up on the world news, and he was down in Florida seeing it on TV. Yeah, probably one of these Arab guys or whatever that they conspired. BBC said it collapsed an hour before it had. Yeah, that's I think what the feed I was looking at. I know at least 20 minutes before because they showed that on one of these YouTube things. Now, I had a 1 hour thing on the World Trade Center was a gold robbery, and that is not on YouTube anymore because I looked, I had it marked, I had it liked. And when I go back, I don't see it. I see a shorter one, but I don't see that. Now, there was something on YouTube by Lear, Lear Airlines, the airplane. Well, there's actually a guy named Lear. He's a big pilot. And he walked through if a plane hit a building and said, if a plane hit a building, it would, as soon as the nose hit the glass, it would collect, it would never go through. In other words, as soon as it hits the glass, it breaks and falls. That's the way planes are constructed. Not only that, he says it's impossible in a big city like New York to actually fly your plane into the Trade Center. He says that's impossible. It's too crowded. It's too small of a landing because you land on a runway. Look how big the runway is, right? You could not fly your plane into the Trade Center if you had a million tries because it would be too difficult. You're at too fast of a speed and it's too small of a target to go and actually fly into the building. I've heard once that it was just a movie projection that a plane actually went in as if it was a projection, and then they did their detonation and then the building collapsed. Then they can use the excuse, well, it was the engine, the oil of the plane was too hot for the building. Well, I never heard that one before. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean it's too hot? So you build a trade center that if it's hot oil burning, it's going to knock the building down. Wow. Okay. You're heavily drugged. I can see. Brian, his brother was one of the so-called hijackers, and he said brother died the year before in a private plane crash. Well, it's close. Maybe it wasn't him. John Lear. Yeah, he's the one that said you could not fly the plane into the Trade Center in a city like New York. He said you could never, ever, the odds would be 1,000,000 to 1 that you could steer the plane into because it's such a small target, you could never do it. And think about the runways. Look how big the runways are, right? They're huge. And the plane lands on there, and then they need lights to figure out where they're landing. That's how hard it is to land one of these big planes. Damn it, the Chinese restaurant is fucking closed. Shake my head, laugh. I don't know why they would be closed in the middle of the day. Well, go to another Chinese restaurant. I don't know. Or just go get some chicken noodle soup, something like that. So go to the grocery store, buy some, what's that premium brand chicken noodle soup or something. Profit, airplanes are made of paper, thin aluminum. Well, they're not going through a glass. Lear also did some examples of a plane crashing into a wall. And it just, as soon as the nose hits the wall, the rest of the plane collapses. It would never have gone through, and you wouldn't have this leaking oil supposedly so hot that it would do it. I don't know. How hot can the oil be? Think about it. The engine's burning. You're on the plane. The pilot's on the plane. You're on the plane. How hot can the fucking oil be? Otherwise, it'd be a fire and we'd all die on every plane flight. So I don't buy that. Yeah, watch this Lear. He's John Lear. He'll tell you about there's no way the plane could crash into the Trade Center. Jesse Ventura on his show Conspiracy Theories had a lady on there that worked at the Pentagon that day. She said it was not a plane that hit the Pentagon. Yeah, that was just a bomb that went off. And again, why do they do it? Because they want to instill fear. That's why we got to go through this bullshit every time we get on an airplane and take our shoes off and do this and do that. It's all such bullshit because it'll never happen in real life. And now we got to go through all this. Do I need to take my belt off? Take my shit out of my pants? Uh, take your belt off, your shoes off, your laptop. What the fuck? Well, it's because of 9/11. They hit the Pentagon, they hit this, they hit that. And you're like, what the fuck? They create the illusion that the government's needed. So when this economic crisis happens, they're going to do the same thing. There's going to be something really bad, and they're going to say, oh, the dollar crashed because of Putin or whatever he's going to use. And that's when gold hits 50,000 an ounce. That's what they mean by this black swan event, where they actually have, it's something that bad that you actually think, oh my God, I got to get my, I can't, see, well, in reality, everybody should be running to gold to get out of the dollar, but they'll create something that'll make the dollar look bad. And then you got to run the digital gold, the digital dollar. That's what they want to do. But the digital dollar will never happen because JP Morgan won't allow it. You can see how he runs gold, and he's going to run the digital dollar the same way. He runs the country, not the government. Keep that in mind. So you're fooled into believing that the government, like Biden's actually running something. Biden doesn't even know what day. He ain't running shit. It's got nothing to do with anything. This shit at the border is based on the mafia paying to hijack people in, and I guess these drugs they're also bringing in, and they just march right across. It's the stupidest, insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Biden's getting a kickback, so he doesn't care. It's California. I don't care. And they're trying to get more votes in Arizona and Texas, and thinking these people will come in and vote Democratic because we give away free money. It's just insane. And they're not citizens, but it's got to piss us off because we are citizens, and we're losing our citizenship because then it's becoming not an issue, which is terrible because we are U.S. citizens. We have passports. It's a value to be a U.S. citizen, not you let everybody and their mother in, and now it doesn't mean anything because half these people aren't even U.S. citizens that are saying they're, well, now I have a passport. It's terrible. Okay, Ryan, Jesse on his show. Oh, yeah, it was not a plane. Okay. Prophet, another problem is jet fuel burns 1,000 degrees lower than steel starts to melt at. Well, of course. Like I said, otherwise every plane would be on fire. Teaserking, there's a good video on YouTube on 9/11. It's called The New Pearl Harbor. It's about 7 or 8 hours long. Check it out. Pretty good, in my opinion. Well, Pearl Harbor was the same thing. Pearl Harbor, they knew, FDR knew all about it. He did sanctions on Japan. There was an oil embargo. They even say that in The Godfather, that the reason for the war is their oil embargo, which is what it was. And we pulled down our defense and let the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor to get us in the war. So there's always this trigger to JFK, to World Trade Center, to get us into World War II. Instead of just doing the right thing, there's always this bullshit trigger that we know about and we let happen to allow more danger. And it's insane. All of those cell phone calls that were crystal clear, they were 20, 30, 40,000 feet in the air. No way. Right. You can't use the phone in the plane, of course. And the other plane that landed in Pennsylvania that they said went down because passengers were fighting with the fucking hijackers in the cockpit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a movie for you. But that's the problem with it. Whatever they say, why does everybody believe? They've never been truthful and honest. That's why we listen to Jesse, or that's why I try to be honest. Nothing that the government says you can believe. oh, it's the Russians against the Ukrainians. No, we're the ones fighting Russia. Isn't it the strangest war? We keep giving weapons and aid to the Ukrainians. What kind of war is that? When do you give aid? You send soldiers. What, Kuwait? What did we do? We went and we sent tanks. We didn't send Kuwait money or arms. And I love how the liberal way out of a war is to put a sanction on, not actually go fight. You got to go fight the guy. You don't, sanction him. Oh, it's going to cost you more money. Yeah, we're the Russians and we have billions of dollars in gold. We don't really give a fuck about money or your sanctions, which was already planned that they would sanction them. So it's not like Putin didn't know there was going to be sanctions. But there's always that event that creates, but why do people listen to him? Name one thing, which you can't, that the government actually told the truth on. We didn't go to Mars or to the moon. 9/11, go down the list. Even the margin call movie, the 2008 collapse, was all preventable. Clinton made it so you could have risky mortgages, rent, sell them to people with bad credit. That was what it was all about. So the poor people could buy a house. So it's okay if they default, we'll pay you. And that was in the 90s, right? And then it comes back, and it wasn't a big deal. It was very well known that you can't do that. And then what do? They come out with the movie Margin Call, where they're all like surprised that it's happening. Like, well, you guys, a bunch of fucking idiots. You don't know if they start defaulting because they got bad debt and interest rates are going up, and they default on it, they're going to go bust, and then everybody holding it's going to go bust. Are you that stupid? You're running a Wall Street company. You don't understand that? Oh my God. So a lot of these people are just idiots in charge. The government, they're just idiots, and it's just run by idiots for idiots. And so anything they say, you cannot believe or take with sanity. Bobby, and the other plane that landed in Pennsylvania, they said we already read that. Ryan, not the people, the leaders of the countries. And people just believe them. Well, that's the problem, is it's all about power. So the leaders of the countries are all a bunch of assholes who take job for the money, not for the people. You can pick any country you want, Russia, China, US, it's all the same. It's all kickbacks and mafia paybacks, and they're all put in by the mafia. Whoever the mafia wants, the mafia gets. That's who runs it. They're yes men for the mafia. What do you need, Don Corleone? You got it. No problem. Oh, you want planes to go into the Trade Center because you own the building and you got this $1 billion life insurance policy or terrorist policy on the building? Not a problem. Okay, guys, lay down. We're gonna fake some planes going into it and do that. That guy did it a week before it happened. I don't even know if it was a week. He redid the insurance on the building to $1 billion for terrorist attack a week before. Who does that on a building? Why didn't you do it 20 years earlier? Why did you wait till a week before it gets hit on 9/11? Why would you do that? And that's exactly what happened. And it was probably a cover. Like, so if we watch The Godfather, it's not Don Corleone, it's a buffer. They got all buffers. So it was Frodo who did it, whatever. It wasn't, you couldn't trace it back to Don. So whoever owned the building was some fall guy who worked for the mafia. Believe me, Don Corleone got the $1 billion. And that's why they're conspiracies, because they can't tell the truth, because they won't let them tell the truth. So that's really what happens. And that's why it's all lies and bullshit. And that's why the story, we were talking about The Bank Job, right? That movie. And what happens, because they got pictures of the government officials at the whorehouse, they all of a sudden the story wasn't on the news anymore. They took it off because the politicians took it off. And who ran the politicians? The mafia. So once it became a story like that, then you didn't see the story anymore. So you can't believe any government story. That's why you can't watch the news. You can't listen to the news. All you can do is for any type of news is find a guy like me on YouTube who can be honest with you and tell you certain things about other things. Like I can tell you what I heard on 9/11, but I can't really verify it. I can tell you the guy did take out the insurance policy. That's what I read. But you got to find people you can trust that when they say something, you believe it, because you can't believe a word if you watch CNN or Fox, any of these news stations, you can't believe a word of it. So you have to not even watch it, because it's all it does is raise your blood pressure. And am I the only one here, this general question, that I just see like 100 people died, all these celebrities and everything, and James Caan and Russell Crowe just died. Is it coincidence? I mean, all these guys dying like in the last couple of months. Is this like, I was watching people that died in famous people that died in 22. It went on for 10 minutes. I mean, it was like, and some guys I knew, some guys I didn't. It was like, excuse me, what the hell is going on here that all these people, all these famous people are dying? What is that? Because they took the vaccine and the vaccine killed them, which is what it's trying to do. I don't know, but it seems a little bit like not a, not a conspiracy, but a what's the word? A coincidence. It seems like an awful coincidence that all these celebrities are dying all in 2022. Does anybody else like questioning this? Or I always question stuff like that. I get it from football when the line moves and you're going, why did the line move? So that happens to me and everything in life. When I see something that isn't normal, I check it out, but I'm trained to do that. Bobby, I remember during COVID, people on my Facebook page would be going on fucking rants telling everyone, what's wrong with you people? Get vaccinated ASAP if you care about yourself and your family. These are the same guys that don't buy gold because, how can you not believe the US dollar? So it's really the same thing of what really you're looking at. People, when I tell you to buy gold, and I don't mean to be one of these people like, it's COVID, you got to get the vaccine. I would tell you not to get I would tell you not to get anything the government tells you to get. But if the government doesn't tell you to buy gold and they want you to buy paper, I would immediately buy gold, because the government's telling me not to, because the government has their best interest in heart, not yours. This vaccine is made to lower your immune system so you will die. That's exactly why the older people who have diabetes, because they eat the sugar and the high fructose, that's the same thing. That's why the older people are dying. They're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us with, like, in a strange way. Like, well, we'll keep high fructose corn syrup on the market, and then you'll die of diabetes and heart attacks and strokes because you ate all these high fructose corn syrup goods. And that's really the way they were trying to kill us, but that's not working. But so many obese people. Oh my God. And again, now tell me what I should do. If I see a fat person at a restaurant or a fat person in the pool, should I tell them about you have diabetes, you need to get off of carbs and sugar? Now, I try to do that to some people, and I get looked at like I'm crazy. And now I'm at the point I don't tell anybody. I just say, okay, you're in trouble. I don't know what to do, because I know. See, this is the problem. I know what to do, how to fix them, but they've got to want to be fixed. And I don't know. Every time I tell somebody, they never listen. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm tired of doing that. So I don't know. Ryan, and he had a meeting that day at the time, but his schedule, a dermatologist appointment. That's why he canceled this meetings. I'm talking about the guy that had the $1 billion life insurance. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder who you're talking. I thought you were talking about Bush. He was at the school in Florida, conveniently away. And when they told him, it was like a poker read. Like he just didn't, like he had a bad reaction when they told him, which he knew already that was what's going to be the reaction. Yeah, that guy was clearly mafia, and he was a front for the mafia. Why would you raise it $1 billion of terrorist insurance on the building? Really? Ryan, most people got offended instead of opening their ears. What I find is people are programmed and conditioned. They'll believe what is told if they believe the person. So if it's the news or the government, they just automatically believe it for some reason. And then if you say, so if they say don't buy gold and then we tell them to buy gold, they won't listen to us because the news has told them not to buy gold, or Elon Musk or JP Morgan or somebody will say, Warren Buffett will say, don't buy gold, buy stocks. And then they'll do that because they believe those people. But people like me, they won't believe because they don't know who the fuck I am. And why should I listen to you? And what do you know? You don't know anything. I get that so much that I just say, fuck you guys. Not you, but I mean, fuck these other people, like especially at poker. But when I really don't like the guy, I'll just laugh at him. Are you in Bitcoin? He goes, yeah. Well, good luck with that. But that's, and you can never tilt me at poker. If you try to tilt me, you won't, because I'll just laugh at you. But I can tilt other people because I can get under their skin real easily because I'm analyzing them and I know what's going to put them under their skin. Well, I think that's the condition, Ryan. When you go to public school now, my youngest daughter, Haley, she was about 9 or 10. And I always was taught you got a Kleenex and you sneeze into the Kleenex like this. And if you don't have a Kleenex, you sneeze into your hands. Now, I was taught that back probably in the 60s, or my mother taught me. I don't know. Haley she sneezes into her elbow, and I'm like, that's gross. I mean, you just sneeze in your elbow. That can't be good. I said, don't sneeze. She said, well, that's what my teacher taught me. And there's your problem. The teachers are so aggressive that they scare the kids into believing to follow the teacher or else, and then that's what they believe. And when you try to tell them different, they've already, no, the teacher told me to do this. And I said, well, if the teacher told you to jump off the roof, you're going to jump off the roof, or you're going to listen to dad who says, don't jump off the roof. So, I mean, you go do what your thing is, but it really pissed me off. Just you were being disrespectful to me. I'm your father. If I tell you to sneeze into a Kleenex in your hand, that's how you better fucking sneeze. I'm not stupid either. They get all insecure about it and call it fat shaming. Unbelievable. Ryan, I'm always willing to listen to people's ideas. Some are good and some are bad. Well, I think it depends, Ryan, on who it is. Like these guys with the gold, like Peter Schiff, I will never listen to him. I was open-minded to him. He doesn't know the difference between paper and physical. And I immediately, now when I see him, I don't even listen to him. So I think you give a guy a chance and you be open-minded and see what it's about. And then once they don't know what they're talking about, that you've given them the chance. I'm like you. I will give them the one chance. Mike Maloney, who did the 10 steps of the U.S. versus Rome Empire, the comparison, I go, wow, this guy's really smart. Now when he's on, he doesn't have a clue what he's saying. He doesn't understand paper derivatives. And he thinks he brings up a chart. Well, look what happened in 08 with gold. That's what's going to happen now. No, it's fucking derivatives. You can't put a chart up because gold is not price physical yet. So you don't have a historic look at gold based on historics. You can't go to 2000 or 2008 or anytime you want to go, because we've never had it priced in physical. So therefore, You don't have a chart showing what happened in '08, the physical. You only have COMEX, which is, we know, bullshit, which is what I just got done explaining on the other video I just did. So to do a chart means you don't know what you're talking about. So a lot of these guys I can't watch anymore because I know they're idiots. And again, based on my knowledge. So what I'm trying to give you is knowledge. So now you listen to somebody, and if they contradict me, you go, no, I know the professor's right. He's read it to me, or he showed me. He's backed it up. I believe him. You're wrong. That's what I'm trying to do, is give you the backbone of what is going on. So when I tell you to buy gold and silver, it's because it's not COMEX, it's physical. And I'm explaining that to you, and I'm explaining JP Morgan's keeping the price down so they can buy more. And then we can get in on that if we're not too stupid, if we would just buy the gold and silver and shut the fuck up and go, man, this is cheap. And by the way, JP Morgan's doing it, and the Russians and the Chinese, they're all doing this, and eventually it's going to go through the roof. Or why would JP Morgan, why would these guys own, why would JP Morgan own 300 tons of it? 37,000 ounces a ton. It's $11 million or something. It was a huge number. And why would they have it if it's worthless? Who collects? It'd be like collecting, after the war pennies. The copper pennies are worth a lot because they only made copper during the war. But the other, it'd be like somebody collecting $1 million of pennies now. And the only reason you do it is if you thought whatever the penny's made out of now, which I don't even know what it is, you thought that would go up in value, which I actually do think it will happen, but I'm not buying a lot of pennies. But if you buy an asset because you think it's going to go up, so therefore that's why you buy the asset. So why would JP Morgan buy gold and silver if they didn't think it was going to go up? So what I'm trying to do is give you the backbone so you can contradict, and anybody who doesn't think like us, you can explain it to them and then let them fuck around. And if you just Google, that's what I did. I Googled JP Morgan. You can show them to them. There was an article, and I know I shared it with everybody, where a company bought $500 million worth of gold. And I showed it to you. And that's important to know. Let's see, do I still have that up? So here's 1 ton is 32,000 ounces. That's 1 ton of gold, right? So I'm hoping to get 1 ton. So then I show you JP Morgan. All you got to do is Google it and ask the question, 11 million ounces of gold. That's where I got the 300 tons. 11. So why would they own it if it's not a value, right? If gold doesn't have a value, or it's not going to be a big value, why would JP Morgan have 11 million ounces of it? You might have 1,000 ounces of it or something. Why would you have 11 million ounces of gold if gold's not valuable? And that's the argument that you use. Bobby, you want to tell your friends, and by the way, they have 600 million ounces of silver. So don't even listen to me. Here's the proof. And that, go look what JP Morgan's doing. Look what the Russians and Chinese are doing. That's your proof. That's how you believe it. But when the government lies to us, they don't prove anything. Okay, prove the plane ran into 9/11. They can't. We all think it's a gold robbery. Because all of a sudden, $1 billion of gold got stolen. But they don't report on that because the mafia was the one, because it was all, we'll pretend the building went down so we could steal all the gold. So in other words, your master plan is, how do I steal gold? Well, if I blow up the building and everybody's bothered by it's sort of like we'll make a distraction and then we'll come over here and do it. Like a war movie, right? The Great Escape. Well, we'll make the guys fighting, and then we'll escape over here. Well, that's what 9/11 was. Well, we'll blow up the building because the guy's got all the insurance on it anyway, and we'll steal the gold. And the other thing was that whole floor of the guy who took the insurance out was off on vacation that day. Nobody worked on whatever, the 101st floor. They were all off. Who goes off on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the day was? Even the secretaries. Nobody from that company worked. Isn't that a fucking coincidence? Nobody takes the whole day off of work. Most people get offended instead of opening their, okay, we read that. Bobby, they get all insecure about it and call, okay, yeah, we read that. I'm always willing to, yeah. Bobby, yeah, they won't listen to us saying buying gold and silver. Then when it booms, they want to either jump in late or just say stuff like, oh, they got lucky. Well, they don't see the value because they don't understand COMEX is fixed and keeping the price down. So JP Morgan, the Russians, Chinese, the central banks can buy it cheap. So they don't even understand that part of the conversation. So without understanding it, now what are you going to do? Therefore, since you don't understand it, if you say buy gold and silver, well, they don't understand. It's like not teaching somebody how to drive a car. They don't know how to drive the car. You say, well, go buy a car. Well, I don't want to buy a car. I don't know how to drive. Well, you need it, but they don't. So it's something like if you don't understand something, it's very hard for them to just believe it or understand it or try to follow our thought process. Prophet, let's form our own gang and rob some gold. In Die Hard 3, they robbed the Federal Reserve building. Well, and if you notice in Die Hard 3, it wasn't U.S. gold. It was all the other countries. So when they say in here, before I read the Federal Reserve has the most gold in the U.S., what they don't say is it's not U.S. gold. It's these other countries' gold that they have there. Or JP Morgan, let's say, for example, his gold's probably in the Federal Reserve, but it's not the U.S.'s gold. It's JP Morgan's gold. Just like if I put in my ounces, if I put in my ounces into the Federal Reserve, it's not the U.S.'s, it's mine. Or Bobby put his silver in, it's not the U.S.'s, it's Bobby's silver or JP Morgan or whatever it is. They're probably banks, but it's not the U.S.'s gold. The U.S. Federal Reserve does not have gold. That's the big problem. It was all European-owned gold. Most of it, yeah, I think so. I know it was Germany and other ones, but they were all bars. So, Bobby, don't worry. If it's not a coin, you're okay. Bobby's worried if his rounds are not coins. He's worried about it. And these bars they're not money. They're gold, but they're not money. Again, money says, it's worth $50 or whatever. It has a value on it, but it doesn't matter. We're not buying it for the money. We're buying it for an ounce of gold, an ounce of silver, or whatever these bars are. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I have one bar that's 1 ounce. I have a bar of gold that's a 1/4 ounce, and then I have a 10-ounce bar that's silver, and I think that's all I got. But I don't care. You're buying the ounce of gold or the ounce of silver. That's what you're buying. That's the point of it. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. German, yeah. Well, but Germany since then has called for their gold to be returned. It took the U.S. 7 years to return, I don't know, 300 tons or whatever of the German gold. That's why nobody thinks that the U.S. has any gold. They couldn't return it, or it was out on loan or something. So Fort Knox won't show you they have 8,000 tons. So why do you believe it? And if you question it, then it's a conspiracy. You don't believe the government actually has 8,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox. Well, because That's in 1959. But what happened? This is 2023 now. So it's been 70 years. So why would I believe what you have there now is the same that you had 70 years ago? I think they either sold it or lent it out, or whoever would lend out gold. They always thought gold had no value. JP Morgan's showing you that it does, as are all the central banks and all the banks in Europe. So that's what I try to prove out, because you have to come up with a way to change people's minds to see what they're missing. People don't know what they don't know, so they don't see that it's missing. So if you go up to somebody and say you need to buy gold, well, go look at the price. It's 1,800. It never does anything. It's just going down. Why would I buy it? I only want to buy something that's going to go up. That's how stupid people are. I only want to buy Microsoft because I think the stock's going to go up. So people buy stocks because they believe every stock's going to go up and they're going to make a fortune. So everybody's trying to get rich, but they don't understand if you would just buy gold and silver, you're going to be way richer than you could have ever been with stocks or bonds or buying anything else. So why do you fight it? Like I said about my old company, I said, just you want to buy these little companies owned by a guy and you want to change it around and make millions with it. Who's dreaming there? I mean, they have zero chance to do it. And then I kept looking at the CFO going, why don't you just buy gold and sit on it? You'll be far richer than you ever could, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about these companies being, selling, making sales to manufacturers who aren't going to buy your product, because they're going to be broke because nobody's going to buy their cars because they made them more expensive because of inflation. So you got to understand inflation. So Fort Knox is just a decoy. Well, nobody knows if there's anything in there. I was worried about my kangaroos. Why would you worry about them? They're cute little animals. Well, that's what I wouldn't have told you to buy it. I own one. I showed you. Well, why would I own it if there was a problem? And if there was a problem, why would I show it to you? I would just show you eagles saying, here you go. So I wouldn't show it to you. So the kangaroo I have says a half ounce of gold. Am I worried? Not at all. Because people are going to want gold. Like JP Morgan has the 11 million ounces of gold. It's in bars. It's in the James Bond Goldfinger bar, right? That's what they own, and they're in all these different safes. They have a bigger worry because if somebody breaks in the safes, they're going to lose all their gold. That's why I'm saying every time I see something in a safe, I don't know how safe it is. People can break into these safes so easily. Look at Money Heist. I broke in and buying with the gold, even though there was water that went into the vault. They came in diving suits. They were prepared for it. So I guess my point is, if they didn't know where the gold was, they wouldn't be able to do it. Like I told you about the Clint Eastwood movie, a fistful of dollars or a few dollars more, where the carpenter makes this wooden thing, and that's where they put the gold in, not in the safe. That's the point. Everybody knows, there's the safe, there's the money. So if you don't put your money in the safe, how are they going to find it? They won't even know where to look. That's my point about a safe. It's a big red flag of here's where the money is. Like, here's the X on the treasure map. But if you don't even put it in a safe and you put it in cool containers in the fridge, nobody's going to look there. Nobody would have a clue to look there. I mean, if you really want to hide it in the house, that's exactly how you hide it. Right in the fridge, right behind the apples or or in my case, the red and yellow peppers. And good luck trying to find it. You'll never find it because you would have no idea that it's there. No idea. Absolutely zero. That's where money or gold is. You might find my safe. Good luck. And then what are you going to find? You're not going to find anything. Well, you'll find some of my good baseball cards that aren't graded yet. So they're really, I don't know what they're worth till they're graded, but that's what you're going to find. So anyway, yeah, this whole government conspiracy stuff, it's believing their lie. So they come up with a lie and you believe it. And then if you don't believe it, now you're a conspiracist and people look at you funny. Well, I believe the government. They never lie to me. They told me how JFK died from Lee Harvey Oswald, even though it really was confirmed it was the CIA. Well, the government, they didn't lie. I mean, it's such bullshit. And that's my whole point. The government, lies all the time. I'm just tired. I'm staying up too late. I'm getting up early. And I'm talking out. So I already did that gold one. But that's why we talk so long here. If I do mention gold, how are you going to find it in a 3-hour class? But if I do a half-hour class on gold and I label it gold, then you're going to find it. And that's probably the better way to break out that. I'm going to order 10 eagles this weekend. Gold eagles or silver eagles? You're kind of being a pussy and buying silver, Bobby. So I'm hoping you're going to buy some gold finally. No, you're fine buying all you're doing is trading your dollars for precious metals, which we can see is very good to do, or JP Morgan wouldn't be doing it. So that's the biggest. I think if you see help, you see other people doing it, it tends to lead to you believe, okay, I'm good because 8 other people did what I did. Now they might be following you, doing what you did based on what you did. I think I get a lot of that when I give out a game on here, a free play, and the next thing I know, I see the line jump 3 points. I'm pretty fucking sure it's because I gave it out and people are betting on what I'm telling, not the other way around, where they're just betting it and just happened to be a coincidence how I gave it. And then the line moves 3 points. So I like to think that it's because I gave it, not because, it's just a coincidence. Oh, excuse me. So what else? So we've talked about the gold and the silver and pretty thoroughly of why the price is low. See, that's always been the big $1 million question. If it's so good, why is the price low? Now we're explaining why the price is low so they could buy more. It's a very simple answer. It's like a magic trick. How did you do? There was Chris Angel, if you ever heard of him, and he walks on water. And you're kind of going, wow, what kind of magic trick is this? And then somebody explains it that there's little clear plastic plates underneath the water. And he's walking on the clear plastic plates or whatever across the water. Well, that you can't see it because they're plastic and they're clear. So is he really walking on water? No. But once you learn the secret, you go, oh, this is easy. So it's the same thing with gold. Once you understand the secret, it's really kept down so they could buy more. You go, fuck, that makes perfect sense. I need to buy some. That's really what's going to trigger the buy, is people understanding that the reason it's low is just simply because they want to buy more. Don Corleone says, keep the price low, you keep the price low, or you're sleeping with the fishes. So that's what's really happening. But once you understand that, you go, fuck, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I'll buy it at this price and just wait for it to go up. That's the whole beauty of it. But since they don't explain that, you just see the price low going, fuck, I don't want to buy it. The price is low because I only want things that are going to go way up. I want to make $1 million and I can only do it buying stock. That's how people think. That's the problem with people. They're stupid. Jesse Ventura talked about the Gulf of Tanks incident. Gulf of Tonkin. So explain this Gulf of Tonkin. If you're bringing something to the class, I want to know what it is. What is the Gulf of Tonkin? What happened? All right, we'll wait for Bobby to explain. At a level, we all get it. So that's a lot of things in life. People are greedy, but they don't get how to, like, we can be greedy buying instead of one gold coin, we've got 50 gold coins, or instead of 10 ounces of silver, we got 100 ounces of silver. That's greed. That's greed, but it's good because we see it's so undervalued. Well, why not buy another 10 ounces? So that's really what you're doing. Is that greed? I don't know. Is that good? Absolutely. Because I got girlfriends to take care of and other people to take care of. So yeah, I need more than 10 ounces of silver. And if it's so cheap, why not buy 100 ounces of silver? So that's what you need to understand. But everything we do, people are trying to get rich because money is freedom, because you pay, but if you have a lot of money, you can easily pay for things, which gives you freedom because you can do other things. I could go back to Lisbon right now if I wanted to. I have the money. Will I? I don't know. I'm waiting on new jobs or gold to go through the roof. Gold goes through the roof, I retire. I'll just do this. But that's the whole point. So people are getting people try, and it's funny. People play the lottery and win it, and they win. Let's say they win $1 million after giving Uncle Sam his 50%. So let's say you won 2 million, you walk away with $1 million. I would say 99% of those people, because they have no clue about money, because any smart people would not play the lottery. I don't play the lottery, right? Because I know my chances of winning are zero. So I don't play the lottery, even though somebody has to win. I love that one. Somebody has to win. Really? How come there's so many weeks nobody wins? So you have that, and then they go with the lottery, and then they win it, and then probably within 2 years they're broke. So they understand, if I play the lottery, I can get rich, but when I do get rich, I don't know how to keep it. And that is the truth about a lot of stuff. But people get into stuff. I'm going to buy stocks. I don't know which one to buy. I don't know the news. I don't know why I'm buying it. It's a pretty company. It's a pretty stock. It's, I like the color. And it's really a stupid buy. God, I really need to go to sleep right now. So people get a little bit, they get stupid. They don't take the time to understand it, right? I'm explaining why to buy gold and silver. Then once it hits, I'm explaining what to do with it, right? But if you hit the lottery, these people don't understand what to do with money, end up losing it all. They buy. All right, if I hit the lottery for 2 million, I pay my taxes, I got $1 million. I'm going to take 500 million, or I'm going to take 500,000 and buy gold, a couple 100,000 and buy silver, and the rest I'm going to buy a house and a car and pay cash for it. That's what I'm going to do. So I have no debt, and I got all this money in gold and silver, and maybe I keep 100 grand out for me to go on vacation and shop and stuff like that. That's what I do. Whatever worked out to $1 million. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to pay cash for the house. They're not going to buy gold and silver. Maybe they buy stocks. They won't know what to do with it. They'll have to ask one of these Keynesian financial planners who doesn't know what they're doing, who will never tell you to buy gold and silver. And that really frustrates me. It's sort of like never telling somebody to bet the New York Giants. I'm never going to give you the Giants to bet. Well, there's a time they're a good bet and a time they're a bad bet. So, sorry, it was called Gulf of Tonkin incident. Well, what happened, Bobby? I still don't know what you're referring to. So that's what happens. People want to get rich, but they don't even understand. And if they happen to get rich, so let's say you got your money in stocks. Do you know when to sell the stock? So you bought Bitcoin. You bought it at 20 grand. My sales manager friend at Toyota bought Bitcoin at 20 grand. It went up to 100 grand. He says, I made 80 grand. Do you know when to sell it? No. You think it's just going to keep going up? Oh, yeah. Why? Nothing just keeps going up. Now it's at what, 16,000? So maybe he bought a few ounces. So maybe he's got 30,000. I don't know. The point is, he doesn't know. He buys it to make money, but doesn't know when to sell it. He doesn't know why. Why is it going up, and then why will it come down? He doesn't know. He shouldn't be playing it because he's going to lose because he doesn't know the triggers. He doesn't know when to buy, doesn't know when to sell. We're buying gold now because of inflation. We know to buy gold because of inflation. We hold it. And then if it starts dropping, then we sell it. Or maybe, that would be the key to it. Bobby, was an international confrontation that led to the United States engaging more directly in Vietnam War. I hate the lottery too. I'd rather invest my money wisely. When I go into a gas station and I see people buy the lottery, I go to them and I say, "Why don't you just bet against the Lions? It's a much safer bet, and you're going to win." Well, people don't understand finance, and for sure they don't understand Austrian economics or gold. This is the big problem. So they know they need more money because they don't have enough and they're being taxed and inflated, and they don't even understand what inflation is. They just know things cost more, so they think its price is going up, and they just don't have a clue. So that's really the problem, is people are not smart and they don't know they need to listen and learn and understand what's happening to them. If I have a problem, with my foot, why is my foot bothering me, and what can I do about it? So I learn about it and then try to prevent it. Bobby has a cold. Well, I'll have chicken soup, or how did you get it? Did you get it by germs, or what happened? But a lot of things in life, when you get it, you start learning what happened. But with money, they never learn. They don't know when to sell their stocks. They don't know when to sell their Bitcoin. So they know to buy it, but they don't know is when to sell it. And just like football, they don't know when to take what team. When do I go over or under? When do I take the team A or team B? They don't understand it. They just, I like Minnesota, I'm going to play them. But not against that defense you don't, or not, yesterday, Green Bay, I even said Green Bay needed the game, or that was Sunday. Green Bay had to win. Minnesota just was playing for a 1 seed, and Green Bay won because they had to win. Their backs were against. So you got to understand all that stuff, or in poker or anything. Why did you raise $50? I'm going to fold. I can't beat you, or I have a pair. I'm not going to call with a pair. So you analyze what's happening. Something looks funny. What is it? And that's what you start analyzing and dig into. And that's really the key to everything, right? Or girls, why did I date her? And then now she's a bitch. Why is she a bitch? She wasn't a bitch when I first dated her. Why did I choose girl A over girl B, over girl C? And then things change and you don't want to be with A anymore. But you don't know, or, that's why you keep A, B, and C. And then you can get to know them all. And then you can go back and forth, say, I don't like girl A anymore. I'm going to go with B or C, and I like B better. And then you weed it out. And then you with competition, you find the best girl for you. That's really what it is. It's just things change, or what you perceived, or, I bought the stock. I don't know when to sell it. or things like that, or poker, why did he raise me, or football, why did the line go up, or women, why is she not acting the way she did before? What triggered it? And that's really what you got to ask yourself. That's really how you analyze. And that's a key to life. And that makes you much happier if you are smart about things. You take your profit. I always say, take your winnings and leave. So I told the guy at the Toyota shop, I says, you made money on Bitcoin, sell it. Take all your profit, leave your initial investment. Then you have your investment, and the rest put in gold and silver. You think the guy listened to me? But I said, you take your winnings. If you would just be up and take your winnings in everything you do, you'd be way ahead, because every time you're up at the casino, you leave, you never lose, right? The only time you lose is if you never got up. But if you get up and you quit and you do that every time, you never lose. And if you don't lose, you've got to be a winner, right? You got to have more. So it just doesn't make sense not to do that. But yeah, the lottery, all that shit is heavily, it's like the money line. The money line might be 150, but the real odds are 500 or something. So you've got to understand that the odds on the lottery are far worse than you think. So you think you buy a $2 ticket to win $1 million, your odds are probably 100 million against to win the $1 million, but you just look at the $1 million and go, oh, that'd be great. I could be a millionaire. Yeah. But they won't keep their money. So what's the point of even investing the money in the lottery? If you do win, what are you going to do with it? And are you smart enough to do anything smart with it, right? So that's really the problem. People don't learn. They don't know what they should learn. If you go against somebody, they get mad, or if you go against the government, your conspiracy, or whatever it is. When you come objectively, and I do that a lot in football, where I'll say, you know what, Philly ain't going to cover this week unless Hurts plays, or I don't know. Why is Atlanta favored over Tampa? People might just bet Atlanta because they're favored or whatever, but that's really the point of it. Is I'm the contrarian, analyzing the game, coming out with the answer, and then if it's not what you think, you've got to be open-minded to go, why does he like that team? And I try to explain the like I do gold, like I do everything else, the economy, the inflation. I try to get to the root of what it is. So when I tell you COMEX gold is low, so JP Morgan can buy, you should go, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. That's what I'm trying to get to, is the reasons of why things move and what happens. Then you can go say, yeah, that makes sense, and analyze and explain it. Ryan, if the government cared about the people, especially poor or lower class people, they wouldn't have the lottery. That's who gets hurt the most by it. Yeah, the lottery is a tax. That's all it is a tax. A casino is a tax. And you'll see that they'll have all these slot machines, and everybody is sitting in the slot machines losing their ass because they're all rigged to lose, right? Even though you win $100, it's rigged to lose. It's rigged that you win 100, then you lose 200. So maybe 200 other people are coming to the slot machines, and you see them crowded because it's for shy people. I'll play poker because I don't care, right? I can talk to people. I don't mind. People play slot machines because they're kind of insecure and, I don't want anybody to see. And it's all I got to do. My skill set is put a coin in and hit the wheel, and then it spins. There's no thought process at all, and they don't know when to quit on top of it. So even if you did win a little bit, would you know to quit? But that's really the problem, right? People are just more shy because they don't have confidence, because they don't know anything. If people understood gold and they could explain it, they wouldn't be shy anymore. They would go, fuck, I understand. I'm going to tell my friends. And then without realizing it, they'll be very confident and they won't be shy. But you're shy because you don't know a subject, so you don't want to talk on it. And if you did talk on it and you're wrong, you look stupid. Oh my God, I said something that was wrong, and I don't have. So I'm very insecure. So I'm very shy because I don't want people to really know. And that's a shame, but that's something that's usually public school causes, because it's either that or the parents where they just try to muffle the kid, or in school peer pressure, or you don't know the answer and the teacher calls on you. I hated that. The fuck you calling on me for? I'm here to learn. Teach me. When I was in my master's program, I would stay after and just hammer the teachers. I didn't understand this. I'm paying for this master's. You didn't do a good job teaching it. I don't know what the fuck you meant. I need you to explain it. And I would be with the teachers after class, even if it was a half hour, going, I don't get what the fuck you're talking about. And I'd make them explain it to me until I was satisfied. I remember going to the dean of economics and I go, this guy was teaching this other guy was teaching international economics, and he worked for the Fed. And I went up and complained to the dean of economics. He was the guy who taught Austrian economics. And I went up to him and I said, the guy's never here. I've missed 5 classes that the guy doesn't show up to. I'm paying for 13 classes. I want to learn international economics. What the fuck's going on? Why does he keep missing? I wasn't there for the grade. I was there to learn, because this was a school that was not theory. It was practice taught by managers of companies, or my economics friend. He ran a tool and die shop, but he knew Austrian economics like a bitch. And the dean of finance was also he was a manager at a company. So these guys knew what they're doing. Like me with football, it's not theory, it's practice. I'm teaching you how I do it. That's how I do football. Now this is what a sharp does, and this is what I should be doing. And that's really the key to it. But that's the difference in the school. It wasn't where other schools teach you theory, like U of M or Michigan State. They don't teach you practice. That's why going to this Walsh accounting and business school, which was a practice school, that's why I learned so much and I understand it. But that's really what you need to learn practice, not theory. So you need me to walk you through the game or walk you through the gold. Then you learn it, right? When I tell you how the gold is, you now learned it. You now learned the gold price is low because they want to buy more. You've learned that. It's not maybe, and you're much more confident explaining it to people. That and the argument, it used to be 35 an ounce, it's now at 18, should be your lead argument about inflation and gold, right? That's how the money's getting worthless. And nobody can argue with you there. That's just done. Ryan, I get a kick out of people when a casino advertises 95% payback percentage. A lot of people think it's great and rush off to the casino. They're excited to lose $5 out of the 100 they wager on. Well, they see it as, well, I'm going to win 95% of the time, which is what it's saying. But what it is saying is, if I put 100 in, I'm going to win 95 is exactly what it's saying. But they look at it like, oh, good, I have a 95% chance of winning, and I know going to a casino, I'm going to lose my ass. Why they go to the casino and play slots, you've got to be the stupidest person in the world. Why would you go to a casino to play slots? You have no chance of winning. You're going to hit a button. You have no skill at all, except for putting the quarter in and hitting the button that rolls the wheels. What are you doing? You should not be doing that. You should be learning how to play poker, or at least blackjack or roulette or craps. And you can at least, if you catch 12 reds in a row at the roulette wheel, you can win. And all you needed to do was understand what a streak is and find a $5 area and bet $5, and then just run your streak up. That's all you need to do. And that's such an easy skill to start with. But the skill is learning how to bet a streak and increase your bet as you go. That's the skill needed. But slot machines, like I said, it's not even, there's absolutely no skill involved at all. It's insane. So I don't even get why people do that. But I think people are mostly lazy. They don't want to learn. They want to be They just want people to do it for them. That's why they have the financial planners, right? Oh, just put your money in stocks and bonds. That's all you need to do. Okay, that's fine. My money, I'm going to make money in stocks and bonds. Well, what stocks do you have? I don't know. I just have a mutual fund, which is a group. So I'm not even smart enough to choose one stock. I just bought a basket of 100 stocks, and hopefully they'll go up. Not during inflation, though, fella. See, that's the kicker. You need to know why stocks go up and down. And it's inflation is one big reason they go down. But you got to know that, and then you got to get the fuck out of it. I've been out of stocks for a year and a half since probably last October, because I know what's happening, right? I know the market's going to crash. So I get out of the market. I don't fuck around in it. But that's the problem. Most people don't know when to get in, when to get out, and how to take profit. And that's really a skill that most people don't even think about doing. They don't know when to get in and out. They don't know how to quit a winner in football. You're up $500. You're only betting 200 on the last game. And you're going to win 300. Period. That's how you need to bet. Is you need to lock away your winnings. So if you're at poker and you hit the first hand, you hit a set, and you win $300. The worst you're doing is walking away with 100. There's no way you're playing the $500 out. You're locking it away, and I'm going to win 100. I'll still gamble the other two, and if I'm hot and the more I can put away, the more I'm going to put away. But there's no way in hell I'm losing today because I just hit a $300 pot. How many people understand that concept? What, 0? Maybe 1? I had one guy ask me, why do you quit a winner? And I was like, how do you want me to answer that? How do you even ask that question? What do you mean, how do I quit a winner? You're playing well, first of all, if you got to be playing to win. If you're not playing to win, what are you there for? You're playing to lose, or you're playing for the entertainment? You want entertainment, go get a girl. I mean, that's as simple as that. Don't go gamble for entertainment. You gamble to win. You gamble to make money, the same as you play stocks to make money. And if you're not doing it to make money, then you shouldn't be doing it. And if you don't understand how to make money doing it, then you shouldn't do it either. Or have somebody like me that can walk you through, how do I make money in it? Profit. Counting cards and blackjack gives you the best odds to win. No, I still like the streak. The problem I have with counting cards, it doesn't guarantee wins. It guarantees there's a lot of 10s or there's no 10s. That doesn't guarantee you winning. I could get, what happens if I get 16 and dealer has a 10? I'm fucked because the deck's full of 10s. Well, how did I get 16? I thought it was an automatic. I'm supposed to get 2 10s. And even if I get 2 10s, if the deck's rich in 10s, the dealer might get 20. So I didn't win the hand. We both got 20. So very critical. But you don't win card counting. Maybe you do, but you've got to learn streaks first. And as you're winning, you bet. But I can win without card counting, and I can win without 10s. I just go sit down and I start winning, and I increase my bet. That's how you win at blackjack. But not, do I care if there's a lot of 10s or not? No. Because if there's not a lot of 10s, the dealer doesn't have a lot of 10s. So what if he throws a 3? What if he's got a 3 and there's no 10s in the deck? Chances are he's going to hit 20 on me. He's going to hit, he turns over a 4. Now he's got 7. He turns over a 4. He's got 11. Now he gets the 10 for 21, or he gets 5 for 21. The deck's got a bunch of low cards. That doesn't mean I'm going to win or lose. Just as if the deck's got a lot of 10s doesn't mean I'm going to win or lose. It doesn't mean I'm going to win if there's a lot of 10s in the deck at that point. Why do I have an edge? Why do I get the 20 and the dealer gets the 16? What if the dealer gets the 20 and I get the 16? There's no edge there. All you know is there's a lot of 10s coming. Why does that give you an edge? And especially if you get 14, 15, 16. You're fucked because you know a 10's coming, you're going to bust. And more than likely, he's got a 10, the dealer. So I don't get it. Backrack is a better game for streaky betting. Well, blackjack's good. Backrack. The thing about backrack is you can bet the dealer. So that helps. Roulette, you can bet red or black, odd or even. Those are probably your bet. Craps, I think, is a real good streak game. I'll play craps and throw number after number after number, never hit the 7. So I'll throw a 5, and then I can just feel there's no 7, and it'll be 5, 8, 9, 6, 9, 8, 5, 10, boom, and I won't hit the 7. I can feel when the 7's coming, but you tend to leave your money on the table at craps. So you got all these bets that have been winning, and then here comes the 7, and every bet loses. So you've got to pull your money after a while. Just take your money and go from there. Ride the dealer when it's winning and the player when it's hitting. Yeah, that's the whole point of backrack. You can play that, but that's no different than roulette, where you can play odd or even or black or red. And craps, you don't have to worry about the dealer because you're the one throwing it. So if I'm throwing at craps and I hit the 9, 6, 9, really doesn't mean, why can't I, keep getting the streak? So what you're looking for is the streak. So you want a game. So in backrack, I can bet bank or player and win. In roulette, I can play black or red, odd or even and win. In craps, I can play the numbers. However, if I'm throwing a bunch of 7s, I get the fuck out of there. I'll play the don't pass. If I throw a few 7s, I'll play the don't pass because I want to hit my number and 7 out. I know I'm going to do that because of the streak of the 7s coming out. I just do 5 7s. Probably I'm going to throw 6 and 7, so I better get the fuck out or play the don't pass. And I have no problem playing the don't pass. Profit. Never played craps. You're going against the 7. It's the odds against the 7. If the 7 comes, you lose all your pass lines, and if you put the numbers out. So if you have 5, if the point's 5 and you throw the 7, you lose. But if you throw the 7 first, you win, and then you throw the 5, and then you're hoping for another 5 before you throw the 7. It's a very simple game. You probably want to play it depends. You either want to play the pass or don't pass line. The problem with the casinos they want to charge you $50 a hand now. So I would play a $5 hand and I'd sit down with $60. Gave me 12 chances to catch a streak. And if I didn't catch a streak, I lost $60, which is well what I could afford. Now, if I do it with a $50 table, I got to play $600. I do not comfortably want to play and lose $600. I can lose $60. It bothers me a little bit. Okay. But $600, that's a whole different atmosphere, losing $600. You got to be careful with that. You lose $600. How many more times are you going to play? If I lose 60, I can play a couple more times. I can lose 60, go play some roulette, as long as it's $5 a hand, and then go play some more $60 and then go win some more. So that's what happens with the $5. It gives you opportunity. Oh, excuse me. You're looking for opportunity. That's why you play $60, $5 blackjack. You're guaranteed 12 hands. You're looking for a streak. But if you don't hit one for the 12 hands, you can play 12 hands. You can play another 60 later, right? You probably have 200-300 to play. But if you have to play 600, how many times are you going to play 600? So you didn't catch a streak the first time. Are you going to play $60 the second time? So that's the problem. How many times can you play 600? Anyway, I'm getting awful tired. I'm going to need to eat. And I don't know. My foot's a little sore today, so I don't know if I'm going swimming. Um, we'll see. I don't know what's causing it. A little bit of pop on the holidays. Maybe I got to stay away from. So I'm testing different things out, but we will see. Anyway, I'm exhausted. Go bet. So we broke down the pros. I got to do my trend analysis, which I will do. You know, who's good in the teaser or not, and where the teams are, overs or unders, and then in the defense. And we'll go from there. So again, why is Tampa 4? Why is Dallas only 5? And then people try to justify the lines. Well, Vegas is doing this and that. You're welcome, Bobby. Profit. I found this great blackjack channel called Perfect Pair on YouTube. This woman is a high, and she always seems to be winning. Well, she's not showing you when she's losing. Well, what is she? How does she explain it? I mean, if she explains it, you're welcome, Bobby. If she explains it, what's her system or style that is allowing her to win? Is she doing a trend analysis? Is she doing a streak, or is she just happen to get lucky? Is she card counting? I mean, you know. Well, I mean, you're going to have winning sessions and losing sessions, just like me with football. I hit the Kansas over and I lost the Oregon over. It's still the same bet. It's good, explosive teams playing, but Kansas got the over and they didn't. But that just happens. All right. She claims she doesn't count cards. Well, we don't care. All right. All right. I'm gonna go. I am tired, and have a great day. www.teaserking.com. www.teaserking.com. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Oh, wait a minute.